7, 8, 9, and 10. Now you come up easy. How did you feel? Good, good. Nice. Let's take it side and make sure now this is more of flexibility. Relax and pull it in and tap on the side. We'll feel your inner thighs getting more stretched. Okay? Wide, tap side, and tap your toe. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Good. 1, without good stretches, without good workout, you're doing nothing in the gym. You need to make sure the muscle is being fed enough information, because every muscle you work out sends more than 2 million signals to your brain. So to revert needs something which actually works for it. Let's change side. 1, 2, 3. 1. You can see what they're doing. You can try at home. It doesn't need to be all vigorous for you to understand you're doing something. This is what you need to start with. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now we can come up. My people are so tired. They've done all this. So at home, we are just demonstrating. But you at home, you need to do this 3 to 4 sets, 20 to 30 reps. So now, since we've done that, we're going to do our stretch for 30 seconds. Then we'll leave you at home, enjoy, and do what we can do. So now, because we've done the body, we are now to stretch wide. Just take your arms wide. Take your arms wide. And just breathe as you turn all the way. Make sure you don't move your legs, only your body, your upper body. Breathe, and then turn again. And breathe. These are your stretches at home, eh? Otherwise, we can do crazy things here. Back here. Raise it up. And relieve back. Good. Let's go down to relieve your lower body, your back, your lower back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice. Hold your waist. Take a step back. Take your step back. And now just hold your leg. Remember, we did mobility. Hold your leg and take it for 30 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 30 seconds. Change. We're on another one. Change for 30 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And call it a day. Enjoy and make sure you have this fun.
That's it from our today's episode. I'm hoping you've had fun. But I'm here with Gidi Kocha. What have you been doing? Kila kitu?
Manze, sijapotea. Nimekuwa kwa industry lakini nimejificha kidogo pande ya fitness, lakini bado nafanya fitness. So I'm still in the industry doing music, doing fitness, and as well looking at people who have beautiful faces and smiling like you.
Okay.
Yes.
So what are the projects that you have right now?
Yeah. We have so many projects. When it comes to fitness, there's something we are working on that we're going to come up with to help other trainers come up. When it comes to music, there's a new song you're dropping called Nichange. And now from there, we're trying to compile the two together to make sure we sell it as one thing.
Okay.
Yes.
I'd really like to tell you to maybe drop some good advice to anybody who is watching us. But I think the thing you do is give some advice to any trainer who is coming up. Because I think the trainers that are here right now, the good taste kama venye nyinyi mlikuwa. So what's going on?
Yeah, there's a problem. We have a lot of trainers who are called YouTube trainers, and there's now the people who understand what fitness is. So for them, we actually advise them to just have the knowledge they have, but at the end of the day, look for someone who actually has more experience than you, someone who's certified in the industry for a while, and then in future as well, you can go and get the certification and become that best trainer. Stop checking something on YouTube today and you do it tomorrow, because remember, clients are getting more smarter. They are looking at that YouTube every day. You might do something and becomes a crazy on the client will sue you, and they are allowed to sue you. Please don't go to an extent of even, if you know you're not certified, to extent of even stretching a client, because in the ethics of fitness, it isn't allowed. Only when you're a personal trainer and certified, you have documents that can back you up in case of any danger. Yes.
So this is getting me to know that even if I'm a client, I should ask for your papers. I should know if you are satisfied.
Yes, you should know that because we've come to realize many of the gyms are protecting the business side and not the professionalism. When it comes to business, I will do anything to make money. When it comes to profession, I'll just brush it off, because who can I pay easy to maintain my business? But for now, it is time you don't even, if it is me maybe advising even the people who are employing people, don't employ people based on salary. Employ people based on their own profession and let them make their own money in your gym. Because that one now you'll bring in so many qualified trainers. And we will end this thing we've started, because many of the clients, like right now, the people I train, most of them are from 40 and above, because they've given up going to the gyms because they have a complaint about a trainer anyhow. Okay? So now if you are in a position of understanding this is my ethic, this is my role, I've understood this is the body type I want to deal with, this is the client I want to handle, then for me, it will be easier to deal with the client. And if there's any, for example, now I'm stretching you as a lady, you're a client, I'm stretching you, I'm so vigorous, maybe stretching you anyhow, then you sue me for sexual harassment, and there's that small video. What will help me to defend myself? For example, I've given a client workout, he's done the bicep, and the bicep has done 12 reps, and I've told the client to do 10 reps, and the client sues me. Now I need to go there and defend myself. Why I said that client to do 12 reps? If I don't have a paper, where will I be? So this business is so real when it comes to maybe like international community, but in Kenya we've taken it just like a simple business. But until someone will fall a problem, will come and face a problem directly from this, then it will become tough. So before the toughness, I can advise them, take a small step under someone and learn, get certified, be a good trainer. We are not disowning those people who are not certified. Just join the rally and make sure you become better than them. Yes.
That is good. You've heard it from him. I'm not going to be adding anything. So, but please, I understand you have a new song,
Yeah. We have a new song that looks like you, and
yeah.
So we're expecting to drop it today, actually. So let's see what's gonna happen, and at the end of the day, something big. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the new song is called
Nichange. Yes.
Okay, it's about love and everything.
I do love songs because I look good.
Yeah. So where can people find you first?
You get me on YouTube. If you're looking for me in terms of fitness, I'm on YouTube as Coaches Gideon Onoka. If you're looking for me as an artist, you get me as Giddy Kocha. Yes, Giddy Kocha on YouTube, yes, and Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. I don't want to give my clients a tough job of looking for different names.
Okay,
yes.
That is so good. So we have to come to the end of this amazing episode. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook as Let's Be Fit, and even on Instagram as Let's Be Fit. You can find us on YouTube as KUTV Let's Be Fit. Remember to follow me directly. I'm Anju Korome on Facebook and also Anju Korome on Instagram. For the first time on Let's Be Fit, he's going to be performing in his new song, and go and subscribe to his channel on YouTube. We've heard it from him, and let's have fun. It's a bye-bye from me.
Urembo wako kilikuzi chawali kuwa wote walo karibu, tena mapendo ya ujuzi professional wala so kujaribu. Mshamba mie maswala haya natamba mie, na wala sina haya, niweke wazi tusije kuwa na tetesi. Upweke basi kwa jahazi, upesi tumadekesi. Mama moyo wangu nitunzie, sisemi nawe sema nami, sijifanye kitungu nilize, niwekeze nasema nani. Moyo wangu nitunzie, sisemi nawe sema nami, sijifanye kitungu nilize, niwekeze nasema nani. Nichange, hani nichange, baby nichange, hani nichange, rembo nichange, dada nichange, kama hela kwa benki baby unichange. Nichange, 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 nichange. Napenda mazima, tena ni hodari wa kuchanganyikiwa, bezima habari na nisumbue, tiba yake nini ni wendo wajua. Imetosha, usijipambe sura, imetosha, maasido na tufata, imetosha, mwenye juu chini nyuma unanifaa.
Conversations on my matters health are important for you. From the nitty-gritties of what it takes to take care of yourself on a daily basis to the policies that affect your well-being at a national level, we have all these conversations on one show.
In terms of the nose, we deal with allergies, we deal with sinuses, and even nosebleed. Simple things and also big things as well.
Make our homes safe spaces where children are able to talk, feel validated without being judged, because the young people want to be heard.
Every Thursday, 7:30 p.m., join me, Yvonne Kemuma, on Focus on Health to keep you abreast of these conversations right here on KUTV.
My name is Jakub Petri. I'm Associate Professor in the Institute of Philosophy of Jagiellonian University in Krakow, Poland. And I'm the main coordinator of the CAFE project, which is being here hosted by Kenyatta University.
My name is Ewa Hudoba. I am a project manager in this consortium. Keep watching cutting-edge research at Kenyatta University Television.
This program is rated GE. Content carried in here is suitable for general family viewing.
Conversations on matters health are important for you. From the nitty-gritties of what it takes to take care of yourself on a daily basis to the policies that affect your well-being at a national level, we have all these conversations on one show.
In terms of the nose, we deal with allergies, we deal with sinuses, and even nosebleed. Simple things and also big things as well.
Make our homes safe spaces where children are able to talk, feel validated without being judged, because the young people want to be heard.
Every Thursday, 7:30 p.m., join me, Yvonne Kemuma, on Focus on Health to keep you abreast of these conversations right here on KUTV.
A full, flourishing life. So the symbol for Hearts for Climate is a heart. It is a visual symbol that represents hope and even love. So other than International Youth Day, that is officially recognized around the world yesterday, we also had another important day that happened on Sunday. That is World Day of Indigenous Peoples. And one of the reasons that we chose to have a conference and a climate week at this particular point in the annual calendar is that when we use these two inflection points, looking at Indigenous people, Indigenous knowledge, this represents the best of who we were and even the best of who we are. But we need to be honest and recognize, with the rapid changes in the modern world, many of these things that we call Indigenous knowledge, whether it is our language, our culture, our tradition, even our values, they are being lost day by day. So unless we choose to remember them, to recover them, and even to celebrate them, we are cheating our ancestors who, through the course of all these generations, chose to pass down this indigenous knowledge, among which it is so important, the single recognition that we are a part of nature. And so we are very happy to bring together people such as yourselves to be part of us and to help us think about intergenerational dialogues where we bring together the bearers of indigenous knowledge and we connect these wisdom keepers with the youth and even the children, and we think about how this connection point, the best of who we were, the best of who we will be, and the best of who we are, can help us to face challenges like climate change and to twist and tweak it so that we can see that while climate change is something serious, it is not something that is beyond us. It is our way to recognize this is a generational challenge, but prior generations were able to face such and to address them, and that made it possible for us to be present here today. In addition to International Youth Day, I believe you have heard about a CCC campaign. What we have said is that this is the first CCC Global Summit. So the 3 C's that constitute CCC, I want to do a bit of audience interaction and pose the question, does anyone know these 3 C's, what they are for the CCC campaign? You can raise your hand or just shout. Someone start with 1 C. Which word, starting with the letter C, is one of the 3 that constitute the CCC campaign? You have one? Okay. Yes? Climate, that is right. One of the 3, now 2 remaining. We have many of them present in our midst. To give a clue. Culture? It's important, but not one of the 3, but very good guess. Yes, Evans. Children. Yes, that is actually the one that we put first because we say we need to start with the children as we think about climate, and the other one, which is frequently described as a tool for which we can do good things. Can use it as a verb if you chop off the ION at the end of this word. Louder? Conservation, yes. So it is children, climate, and conservation. So when we put these 3 C's together, the idea is that this will take us far towards where we need to be as societies and even communities in trying to live healthy and full lives and do it together with the children. So the CCC campaign was an idea that was launched almost a year ago in October of 2025. And now that we have reached cycle number 4 with the International Youth Day, the 4 days in the calendar year that we use as anchors on a quarterly basis to celebrate the CCC campaign are World Children's Day, which is November 20th. That was when we did the initial launch last year. Then we fast forward about 3 months to February 21st. That is Mother Language Day. And we see that as an opportunity to teach children their mother languages and in that way to preserve indigenous knowledge. 3 months and 1 day later, we get to May 22nd. That is World Biodiversity Day. So together with climate change, biodiversity, along with pollution, These are three areas which are recognized to constitute what's called a triple planetary crisis. But again, our idea is if we come together, we can understand these crises and ensure that there are also opportunities to move towards a much better place. Fast forward about 3 months, not quite a full 3 months, and you get to August 12th, and that is International Youth Day. So these 4 days, if any or all of those are of particular interest to you or the organizations that you represent, we warmly welcome you to join us in the Triple C campaign. This is a local and global initiative, and we hope that today will be a great point to look back on and recognize how much we were able to do when we joined together and celebrated children, climate, and conservation together with youth and bearers of indigenous wisdom. Thank you for the opportunity to share, and I look forward to remaining connected and walking together. Asanteni.
Tumpigie makofi an innovation opportunity. Climate change and environmental degradation are often only discussed as threats. We're seeing them as threats, but they're also creating enormous demand for solutions. Africa needs technologies that are climate-smart agriculture, water management, renewable energy, waste management, environmental monitoring, circular economies, sustainable mobility. The list is endless. That means sustainability can also become an employment and enterprise agenda. So the question we always ask ourselves, we should be asking ourselves is, will Africa import, will we continue importing all these solutions, or will young Africans, such as you and me, build some of that? And that is where the opportunity is. So I want to leave you guys with 2 challenges. The first one is very, very personal. Identify one real problem around you that technology could help solve, right? And not a theoretical problem, that's something you can see in your community. I have a very good friend of mine. He was my trainee. He's a professor at Moringa. His name is Ken. He actually came to me with a very brilliant idea. He nicknamed himself a draw farmer. So what he uses is he has coded lines and lines of codes and programs with on how to help him boost yield in his farm and also still maintain the ecosystem within it. So he actually uses those drones. He uses his drones. He has 2 drones. He uses 2 of his drones to actually collect data on his farm, and then he puts it on his program, and then that program actually tells him that this is what he should do. He should maybe harvest this side, kill this, maybe reduce crop protection products on this other end and this other end. And he's actually been able, out of his 1 acre farm, he's been able to harvest 3 times of what he used to make. So that's one of the first challenges I'd want to leave you with. And the second challenge is to all of us. What must change in Africa so that a young person with a good idea can move from an idea to a viable enterprise? And this question is not only for the young people, it's also for the universities, the government, industry, investors, and development organizations, because Africa already has talent. I believe we are all talented. Are we not? We are, right? So, and increasingly, Africa has continued to access, Africa has access to technologies capable of solving them. And the missing piece is often connecting those 3 things: talent, technology, and opportunity. If we can get that connection right, Africa's youth population will not simply be waiting for the future of work. They will be creating it. And perhaps that is the biggest opportunity emerging technologies gives our continent. Not just machines, not just faster systems, not just artificial intelligence, but the opportunity for millions of youth, young Africans, to use technology to create meaningful work, build enterprises, strengthen communities, and solve some of the continent's most difficult challenges. And all this will be determined by what Africans choose to do with them. And I hope that when we look back 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, we'll be able to say that this generation did not simply witness Africa's technological advancement. They actually built it. So with that, thank you so much for granting me this opportunity. Like I mentioned, my name is Carl. I'm just a drone operator, leave all the accolades, and I'm really happy to be here. I like the kind of work that you're putting in, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
to launch a master's program. I hope it will take a shorter time to launch PhD program. So I challenge Dean Ratemo that you fast track the process so that we can start offering PhDs in this place. So let me make the remarks of our Vice Chancellor, Professor John Okumu, who is away and had requested Deputy Vice Chancellor Rio to represent him, but I don't know by what coincidence, I was called in the evening and I was told I should go and take the duties of DVC Rio because she is away on another mission. It was not mentioned to me that I will be coming for this function. I learned about it when I was in the office. So I didn't prepare my own remarks. I only read what is written here, and after that, you don't add anything. Otherwise, you will be punished. Our chief guest, Honorable Dr. or Professor William Mutunga, our Chief Justice Emeritus of Kenya, deans of various law schools present. I've seen one from, where is it? And there may be others that I do not know. Representative from African Legal Network, Kenya, Anjarwala and Kana Co-Advocate. Representatives from Independent Medical Legal Unit, Undugu Society of Kenya, Legal Resources Foundation, Haki na Sheria, the Executive Dean, Deputy Executive Dean, members of staff and students, Kenyatta University School of Law, Arts and Social Sciences, Parkland campus, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. On behalf of the Kenyatta University, I'm delighted to welcome you to Kenyatta University School of Law, Arts and Social Sciences.
All right, a very good morning to you. Many thanks for joining us this morning right here on KUTV Biashara Tuesday, a show that keeps you informed, updated, and educated on matters entrepreneurship, business, and of course, leadership involved in the same, because we cannot have a good system of business without having good leaders in the system. Now, talking about system, today we are having a very interesting discussion where we'll be talking about unions, workers' unions in the country. How significant are they, and how are they useful to the workers, not just bargaining for salaries? What about workers' welfare? What about the working place, safety in the working place, healthy working places that caters for your mental health? That is the discussion that we shall be having today on the first launch, being a Tuesday where we discuss business. And today also being a Tuesday, we shall also take a look at the state of the nation, where we shall be talking about what is shaping the country's narratives at the moment, and that is according to the newspaper. We call it Newspaper Review this morning on this coverage this morning. Now, my name is Anyango Sylvia. It is the 18th day of August 2026, a day that is that is marked as World Cancer Research Day. So several groups are gathering across the globe discussing ways in which cancer can be studied, and ways of solving the issue or this menace can be achieved or attained as we go ahead with wanting to solve our crisis in matters health. So those are the discussions that we'll be having this morning. But at this point, before we get deeper into that, I want us to take a look at what is happening on the roads and, of course, the weather situation in different parts of the country. It is exactly 23 minutes past the hour, that is past 7 a.m. And I'm looking at traffic in different tributaries leading to Nairobi Central Business District. To start us off from where we are, that is at around Thika Road, because we are at Kenyatta University. Traffic is not as we always expect, but from Safari Park all the way to as you exit towards the outer ring road, there's a little bit of slowdown, but not as we always see. So it is not much to worry about along that route. Just around Garden City, there is where there is a little bit of snarl up, but as you head towards town, the traffic is moving quite nicely. But as you head towards Pangani Interchange, Muthaiga Interchange, you will be staying on that spot for quite some time. So as you head towards Pangani, you know where I'm saying, because that is where traffic always begin in Nairobi. So around Muthaiga Pangani Interchange, you will be staying on that stretch for quite some time. And also as you head towards the Globe roundabout, you'll also be staying on that spot for quite some time, but not as heavy as it is witnessed around Muthaiga Pangani Interchange. If you are getting to town from Jogoo Road, today there is also a little bit of traffic. There's areas around Makadara. So if you're using Jogoo Road, you'll be staying on the road for quite some time. And also as you head towards town, as you enter town, Kule Chini, around Gikomba Market, as you enter town along those routes, you'll be staying on that stretch for quite some time. Those people using the Eastern Bypass, wale watu wanatumia wanatoka Utawala heading to town, heading towards Mombasa Road, you'll also be staying on the road for quite some time, especially at the junction that joins the outer ring road and the Eastern Bypass, that is around Embakasi. Along that stretch, you'll be staying on that spot for quite some time because there is very heavy traffic along that route. So if you're coming from Embakasi, Kule police station, ukitoka ukuju outer ring pipeline, and you're using outer ring road towards Mombasa Road, you will be staying on that spot for quite some time. And those using Mombasa Road, the road looks quite okay except for a few areas. Those are the junctions, that is areas around Nyayo Stadium. You'll be staying on that route for quite some time. Wale watu wanatoka kule juu Haile Selassie Avenue, as you get towards Mombasa Road, you'll be staying on that stretch for quite some time. And of course, those wale wanatumia areas around the All Saints Cathedral, that route, if you're using that route, of course, you'll be staying on the road for quite some time. So this is affecting those coming from Kibra, kule juu. So if you're coming from those areas, you'll be staying on those stretches for quite some time. And of course, we can't forget to mention the roundabout around Daystar. If you're using that route, you'll be staying on the stretch for quite some time. Wale watu wanatoka Hurlingham, you'll also be staying on that stretch for quite some time. So those are the areas that I'm seeing traffic in Nairobi as you head towards town. All the other areas, there is not so much to report about in those areas. Yes, there is not so much to report about in those areas. And those who are coming from areas around Kule Kabete, if you're coming from Kabete, also you'll be staying on the road for quite some time. So that is on the traffic update as of 7:27 a.m. this morning. Now, taking a look at the weather, in different parts of the country. Just to mention that areas around Nairobi, this morning it is drizzling, or it is, yes, it's drizzling. So it's quite a cold weather in Nairobi. And throughout the day, the temperatures are going to be quite low, and at around, from around 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. there is 40% chances of precipitation. So at this point, or at this time of the day, it will be drizzling, 20% chances of rainfall at around 11, and of course 40% chances of rainfall from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. The same percentage of rainfall from 8 p.m. all the way to midnight. So today in Nairobi, it will be cloudy. It will be a cloudy day with temperatures from 16 degrees Celsius with a maximum of 21 degrees Celsius. So in Nairobi today, it will be quite a cold temperature. It will quite be cold because it will mostly be cloudy. And in Kiambu County, it is also 16 degrees Celsius, the same as Nairobi, and it feels like it. The day will mostly be cloudy. And in Kiambu, from around 9, there is a 20% chances of rainfall accelerating towards 1 p.m. in the day, and 40% chances of rainfall at around 4 p.m. later on in the evening. So the same that is happening in Nairobi, temperatures from as low as 16 degrees Celsius to the highest of 21 degrees Celsius will be witnessed in Kiambu County as well. So the two counties will be experiencing very cold conditions in the day. So moving forward to the coastal region in Homa Bay County, the day will be partly sunny, or it is partly sunny. Temperatures right now are at 21 degrees Celsius. It feels like 24 degrees Celsius, quite high. And 50% chances of precipitation from around 3 p.m. to around 5 p.m. 50 to 40% chances of precipitation. So it might rain today in Homa Bay County later on in the evening. Moving forward to the coastal region, Mombasa County, it is also partly sunny. Right now it's at 24 degrees Celsius. It feels like 26, and precipitation of around 30% are expected from around 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. all the way to 12, all the way to noon. And then the temperatures are expected to be rising up to 28 degrees Celsius. That is mida ya saa 9 jioni. So that is of the weather update in central part of the country, the Nyanza region, the coastal region, and of course in the Rift Valley region. Let's take a look at Eldoret. Right now it's at 14 degrees Celsius, quite low, and it feels like it. The day will mostly be cloudy. The temperatures are expected to be rising to up to 24 degrees Celsius during the day, and from around noon all the way to 4 p.m., 30 to 40% chances of precipitation in the Rift Valley, and specifically in Eldoret City. In the northern part of the country, not the northern part of the country, but in Kitale, that is in the western part of the country, it is 15 degrees Celsius. It feels like it. The day is mostly cloudy. Precipitation from 20 to 30% chances from around 3 p.m. all the way to 6 p.m. And temperatures are expected to be rising to up to 26 degrees Celsius. That is at around 3 p.m. later on in the evening. And finally, taking a look at Mandera County, 27 degrees Celsius. It feels like 29 degrees Celsius. The day is, right now it's partly sunny, and the day will mostly go about like that. Temperatures are expected to be rising to up to 34 degrees Celsius later on at around 3 p.m. in the evening, and precipitation at around noon at 30%. So in most parts of the country, precipitation around 20 to 50%. There is no part that is above that. So apart from the western part of the country, the central part of the country, all the other areas, the temperatures are looking quite okay as of this hour. That is of the traffic and weather update as of 7:31 a.m. this morning. All right. Now let's take a look at what is happening in the country. And of course, this is as far as the newspapers are concerned. And just to set us off, let's begin with the Standard this morning. They're talking of 2027 road to general election. And they are saying, the Standard are saying that God save Kenya. Now, of course, this is the faces that are presented there, face of Interior Cabinet Secretary, Kipchumba Murkomen. We also have the Raymond Omolo also there, and we also have IG Kanja. Their faces are presented there, and we have them in relation to what transpired. Of course, this is in relation to what transpired during the weekend or over the weekend in the county of Homa Bay, where we witnessed Goonism happening in that region. And the Standard is saying that as we head towards the 2027 general election, God save Kenya. Now, just to read what they're saying, that they're actually saying that this is security failure. So the Standard are saying that all these people are failures. I don't know if you're keen on social media or always on social media, you understand that the voice behind failure, I can't get it right. But apparently that is what we are having in the country in terms of security. They are saying that whatever President Ruto sees in the men charged with the country's security, from Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen and his PS Raymond Omolo to IG of Police Douglas Kanja, continues to baffle many Kenyans. Under their watch, the country appears to be sliding into a troubling culture of lawlessness, with political violence increasingly threatening the right to assemble and campaign peacefully. Hours before the Linda Mwananchi rally in Homa Bay, warning signs were unmistakable. Reckless statements by politicians raised the specter of violence, while goons were reportedly mobilized in broad daylight. What followed was a trial of destruction, bloodshed, and death, raising serious questions about whether the state can protect citizens from politically instigated violence. Kenyans are now asking simple but unsettling questions. Who will protect them when those entrusted with the security appear unable or unwilling to act? And how much longer will the country remain on the edge before President takes decisive action? So apparently, according to the Standard are asking, who are they? Kwani who are they? Can't they be sacked? Can't action be taken against them? So that is a story that has been given prominence. And of course, the Standard today have gone bold with this story. On page 1, page 3, page 5, and page 6, still talking on the same insecurity situation in the country. Other stories in relation to that is journalist horror, where they're saying that we thought we were going to die. There's also the story of interior chiefs on the spot over Homa Bay chaos, and also why is Kaluma still free? Police face double standards question. So that is also what is transpiring in the country, and they have given prominence in all those pages. Remember when Rigathi Gachagua, it was his ally, I can't remember his name, said that whoever is supporting two-term, they will not attend his or her funeral, they will not attend his or her contributions. Like the community will not neglect them. And there was so much talks on the same, saying that, oh, they're becoming tribal, they're becoming all the same. But what we witnessed over the weekend, where Kaluma say that Homa Bay is not a two-term, is not a one-term region, but then we've not gotten so much backlash. Of course, that is, we call it selective amnesia, where politicians decide that there are things they can remember, and there are things that they're not allowed to remember, or they cannot allow themselves to remember. We shall be having more of that discussion later on with our panelists as we'll be talking about the state of the nation. Moving forward to the Daily Nation. The Daily Nation are talking of how Homa Bay chaos was plotted. And this is interesting because they're saying that sources say politicians hosted a meeting to plan the attacks days to Sunday's event. They're also saying that another meeting was held on the eve of the rallies with goons paid up to 4,000 Kenyan shillings. We also have at least 2 people, including a police officer, killed and scores others injured. Local police say 22 suspects were arrested following the violence. What is interesting is not even the report that is given, is that the police know about the plan to the plot against or the plot to violence during the rally. But then again, we have not seen anyone arrested because this is according to the research that they did. So why is it that no one is arrested following what transpired over the weekend? And of course, why is it that there is no action that is stated? Just like what the Standard is saying, it's either they're unwilling to do the same or they're incapable to do the same. Now, moving away from what transpired in Homa Bay County or the road to 2027 general election, and just so you know, it is 357 days to the next general election that will be happening on the 10th of August 2027. So we have 357 days to decide who is going to be our president. Now, still on the Daily Nation, they're talking of TSC social media gag splits teachers. So the teachers are now questioning why the Teacher Service Commission is interfering with their personal life. And of course, there are sections that are saying that why are they going to those who have violated TSC terms of service or violated the guidelines of the employer, but putting all of them in one basket. And some of them say that this is just a way of controlling what is happening with the teachers, and they're saying that it's not a good thing. So what do you think about the same? That story is on page 14 of this paper. So if you can get a copy of the same, you can read more on that. And they're saying that educators say that the body should regulate professional conduct, not control their personal life. So that story is given prominence on page 14. And of course, with the legal dispute of Gachagua, he claims that the court altered impeachment judgment. That is still an ongoing process where the former deputy president challenged the High Court decision upholding his 2024 impeachment by the Senate. More of that story on page 8 of the Daily Nation. Moving forward to the People Daily. The People Daily are still talking of what happened in Homa Bay, why Gunism is greatest threat to Ruto's re-election bid. Of course, this is in relation to security of the country, something that is also given prominence on the other newspapers that we have handled. Moving forward to Taifa Leo, wanasema kwamba kila mhuni alipata shilingi 4,000 Homa Bay. A similar story that we've talked about on the Daily Nation. And another story there is that Ebola, Wamerika 7 watoka karantini Laikipia. Apparently, they are not with the Ebola disease. Vile vile wanasema kwamba wakazi wa pwani watakiwa kujiandalia El Nino. Remember those warnings that have been given in relation to the foreseeable El Nino that we are supposed to be expecting. Also given prominence on Taifa Leo. And another story, same as what is given on the Business Daily. Walimu wapinga agizo la TSC kuhusu mitandao. So they're saying that their personal life should not be controlled. Now moving forward to the Star. The Star are talking of power reaches 1.6 million as state lights up forgotten villages. Sorry. And remember, the Star is always independent. When it comes to Tuesday, it is also free. So they're talking about government projects that is of lighting different parts of the country that have been forgotten, and they're talking of 1.6 million power state lighting forgotten villages. That is given prominence on the Star. They're also talking of divide and win inside President Ruto's plot to split opposition ahead of 2027 election. You can read more of that story on page 6 of the Star. The Business Daily are talking of inside 10 firms holding 60% of state tenders. They're also talking of Treasury 6 funds to reinstate fuel subsidy in U-turn. So Mbadi has also given that, and it's not specified whether it is from loans or it is from other grants by the government, or how will they get the funds. But just so you know that it is 6 funds to reinstate fuel subsidy in a U-turn. This is in order to caution Kenyans against rising fuel prices in the country, to maintain it at a steady rate. And also, they're talking of KCB wins priority over Procter and Allen asset sale. They're also talking of NSSF seeks to build city on Mavoko land. The National Social Security Fund has revived plans to develop its 1,000-acre land in Mavoko into a mixed-use city. That is given prominence on the Business Daily. And of course, MyGov, which is a pullout from the Star. They're talking of Konza from vision to Silicon Savannah reality. That is, of course, in relation to the Vision 2060 as what is still a conversation that is given prominence in the newspaper. They're also talking of why Kenya needs new vision beyond 2030. That story is on page 3. In terms of infrastructure, they're talking of Garissa Airport upgrade, boost connectivity and investment. That story is also on page 6. Moving across our borders, in Tanzania, katika gazeti la Mwananchi wanasema kwamba mnyukano Lissu jamhuri wa watoto. That is given prominence on gazeti la Mwananchi Tanzania. Vilevile wanasema agizo la Chalamila la pingwa, na vilevile wanasema kwamba dialisisi mchwa mpya anayefilisi familia maskini. Those are stories that are given prominence on Mwananchi. In Uganda, talking of cancer by region, that is, remember as we began, I told you that today is a day that celebrates, or is a day that is marked in commemoration of World Cancer Research Day. So Uganda have given prominence on the same health story. They have given distribution of cancer in the country based on region, and of course based on gender, and yes, just to give statistics on what is happening in their country as far as cancer is concerned. And on New Vision, they're talking of government holds special land titles. Those are the papers that you're having this morning as far as newspapers are concerned on this 18th day of August 2026. We are taking a very short break. We'll come back with news.
Badala ya kutafuta kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu.
Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi wale hawana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili.
Bila woga, watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi, wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi. Hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
All right, welcome back. You are watching KUTV Biashara Tuesday on this 18th day of August 2026. Right now, it's time for news updates. To set us off, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has dismissed calls for his opposition to immediately unveil a 2027 presidential candidate, insisting that unity comes before personal ambition. Gachagua also took aim at President William Ruto and his deputy, Professor Kithure Kindiki, accusing his allies of focusing on succession politics instead of issues affecting Kenyans. Brian Ouma starts us off this morning with that report.
While meeting grassroots mobilizers from Nyeri County, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua insisted that the united opposition will not be rushed into naming its presidential flag bearer for the 2027 general election. He argued that the coalition's priority remains building structures, consolidating support and maintaining unity across the country.
Wamasai nimemaliza. Nataka nimalize hii ya Kipsigis. Nikimaliza niketi na kina Kalonzo na wengine. Tuanze kuulizana nani ataongoza Kenya na ni kwa nini. Si ndio? Si iko namna hiyo? Sema mimi nimesanya kula milioni 8 ya Wamasai ya mlima. Nairobi niko na 1 million. Wamasai 1 million. For Kipsigis 600. Mimi karibu 12 million. So tuongee. Tujue nani ataongoza ke?
While criticizing Ruto's administration, Gachagua accused the government of neglecting the interests of the Mount Kenya region, despite its role in delivering the 2022 election victory, arguing that the government's priority were out of touch with the concerns of many citizens.
Nikamwambia serikali yako, foundation ni mlima Kenya. Apana guza hii mlima. Don't touch the foundation of your government. Huyu Pastor Dokas alikuwa anamuombea mpaka wanaongea in tongues. Huyu Kasongo si alikuja hapa? Mara ngapi? Mara 2. Si alikuwa hapa? Akilia tumsaidie. Juzi anasema ati alijileta kwa mlima. Si ujilete sasa. Si ujilete.
And in what appeared to be a direct response to Deputy President Kithure Kindiki's recent remarks in Embu, Gachagua dismissed attempts to project an individual as the political spokesperson of the Mount Kenyan region, maintained that leadership will ultimately be determined by the people and not through political declaration or endorsements.
Kindiki alipanga hii maneno na ichungwa na Ruto before the elections. So juzi nimeona akiongea huyu Rigiji, mimi nilikuwa na mshauri nikiwa minister. Ulikuwa unanishauri na ulikuwa unanipangia usiku. Mlikuwa mnapanga na Kasongo. Hii ni kitu mlipanga tangu zamani.
Gachagwa's message was clear. The opposition is focused on building a united front first, while the question of who will carry its presidential flag remains a battle for another day. Brian Ouma, KUTV.
Saporano, Kasongo.
All right. Now, as the nation approaches the 2027 general election, an unsettling trend of political goonism has emerged across the country. Former Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i has warned that if this goonism continues, the country could face turmoil come 2027. His concerns came after opposition leaders were attacked in Homa Bay and Nakuru, igniting concerns on the country's security as we near the upcoming general elections. Listen in.
Speaking in Nairobi during a media briefing, former Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i criticized the recent tide of political thuggery witnessed across the country. This concern comes a day after the Linda Mwananchi movement was heavily attacked in Homa Bay County, among other cases.
The deployment of resources, you can see clearly this was very well choreographed, it was very well planned. You don't have to be... You know, you can tell the amount of resources being involved, the level of mobilization. The leaders in that area who are organizing that had been swearing all week. And no one is arrested these days. No one is charged in a court of law with that kind of violence. The level of impunity has gone to new levels.
According to Matiang'i, opposition leaders are being tracked through the internet by government machineries.
These days, we get trailed, and my staffers can bear me out. We get trailed by vehicles, I believe they belong to the state, with jammers. We stop to address rallies. Our Wi-Fi is interfered with. You cannot communicate. I was checking with my staffers who were checking with the team that Rigathi Gachagua was traveling with over the weekend. They began experiencing the same challenges on the trail. And these are jammers. I believe this is the work of the state. Who has the capacity to do that?
With the cases being rampant, many leaders are now calling for accountability from national security and intelligence bodies. The question as to how such large-scale disruption could occur without their awareness is a matter of concern that needs to be looked into.
I saw the other day a report that was done by private investors from EU are interested in Kenya. I even made reference to it in an interview I did another day. All of them are raising issues about the security of the country and the stability of the country going forward because of these wounds and the level of crime in the country.
The former cabinet secretary highlighted the significance of political stability in the country, even as we head into the general election. He emphasized that political parties have a right to engage citizens across the country without being met with chaos or intimidation.
We've always been visiting and working with these people. Why is it a problem this time that his motorcade has to be stoned, returned, and so on? I mean, how many times, honestly, let me ask you, how many times has James Orengo gone to Homa Bay in his life? It is this transactional politics where people think that to inflict violence and pain in the manner in which they are trying to do is the only way of asserting yourself, asserting your authority.
With the general election around the corner and external organization predicting political violence, the question now remains, what measures will the government put in place to avoid these? Brian Ouma, KUTV.
Now, days after violent clashes erupted during the Linda Mwananchi rally, the aftermath continues to weigh heavily on the community in Homa Bay County. Reports indicate that 2 individuals have lost their lives, while several others have sustained injuries amidst the chaos. The effects of the political violence are starkly visible, with significant damage inflicted on local infrastructure, notably the Homa Bay Tourist Hotel and the Seventh-day Adventist Lake Victoria Field Church headquarters suffered considerable damage during the disturbances. Given that the 2027 general elections are around the corner, many fear that what we are witnessing may be a foreshadowing of what we expect as next year comes around.
The leadership of Homa Bay, shame on you. Shame on you. My tears roll. Because I'm a mother. People have been killed. People have been hurt. Why? Because they want to listen to Linda Mwananchi. Why? Why would you do that? I cry for my country. I cry for my country. This is terrible. And shame on you, the leadership of Homa Bay.
Now, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has moved to the Court of Appeal in a fresh attempt to overturn the High Court decision that upheld his impeachment. Through the appeal, Gachagua argues that the judges erred in validating the Senate's decision despite finding that his constitutional rights were violated during the impeachment process. He maintains that the Senate proceedings were fundamentally flawed and wants the appellate court to declare the impeachment unconstitutional while accepting the 50 million Kenyan shillings compensation awarded for violation of his rights. Gachagua says he will continue pursuing legal remedies to clear his name and challenge his removal from office. Now, on matters health, Kilifi County health officials have vowed to take action against staff accused of poor service delivery at Malindi Sub-County Hospital. This follows an unannounced inspection after patients raised concerns over long waiting times and poor communication. And KUTV's Petra Faith reports the county is seeking to improve service amid ongoing doctors' industrial action.
Malindi Sub-County Hospital in Kilifi County is facing increased pressure as it serves patients from neighboring counties. Health officials moving to strengthen staffing and services to meet growing demand. The county health team, led by County Executive Committee member Peter Mwarogo, found several areas requiring attention with patients' concerns, prompting officials to intervene.
Tumeweza kweli kuzunguka na tumekuwa tukifanya hizi visits mara kwa mara, si mara moja hii, na haitakuwa ya mwisho. Na kuko na vitu pia sisi tumeweza kusoma na kuona, na tunataka kuhakikishia hospitali hii ni yenu. Mkuwe na imani nayo, na tunahakikishia kuwa tutawapa huduma bora.
Mwarogo says the county has already begun addressing some of the challenges identified, including delays in assessing laboratory results. He also outlines measures being taken against staff found to be neglecting their duties.
Wanaohudumia wagonjwa wanajitahidi kadri anavyoweza, lakini shida kubwa inatokea pale kwa upande wa kutoa taarifa kwa wagonjwa. Utakuta labda wagonjwa hawapati maelezo vizuri kwa nini labda inabidi wasubiri, ama kwa nini inabidi labda mwingine aonekane mbele ya yule ambaye aliyefika wa kwanza, hasa wakati wa dharura, wakati wa emergency inabidi labda hata yule aliyeingia mwisho ahudumiwe wa kwanza kwa sababu hali yake yahitaji kuhudumiwa kwa haraka.
Communication between health workers and patients has also emerged as a concern. County officials say staff will receive additional training to improve patient interaction and ensure clearer communication.
Hivi karibuni tukipata referrals nyingi sana kutoka maeneo ya Tana River, maeneo pia ya sehemu za Garissa na Lamu zikiwa kwa wingi. Sana sana ikiwa ni kufata huduma zetu bora zenye ziko Malindi ambazo hazipatikani kule, na haswa wakati huu wa mgomo ambapo zile kaunti zingine mgomo unaendelea, lakini hapa tumejaribu kuhakikisha tunapata wahudumu na madaktari hawa wa contract ndio tuendelee na huduma zetu.
The county has also moved to strengthen emergency response at the facility, including improving ambulance services and dedicating one ambulance to maternity cases.
Jambo moja ambalo limekuwa ni donda sugu sana hapa ni upande wa maabara. Watu wametuambia kwamba wakija hapa wanachelewa sana kupata majibu ya wanapokuwa wamechukuliwa vipimo mbalimbali, na tumehakikisha kwamba tumeleta huduma hizo za maabara katika maeneo haya ambayo wagonjwa wanatibiwa na kurudi nyumbani, yani accident and emergency na outpatient area. Sasa
the hospital is further dealing with pressure from referrals outside Kilifi, with patients from Tana River, Lamu and Lower Garissa also seeking services at the facility. With staffing, accountability and communication now under review, county officials say the measures are aimed at making services more efficient and improving patient experience at Malindi Sub-County Hospital. Petra Faith, KUTV.
Thank you, Petra. Now, 3 people have been killed in Sagamian, Narok County, after police officers opened fire during an alleged attempt by residents to force their way into a police cell and free a suspect. The incident has sparked condemnation from local leaders led by Narok County Governor Patrick Ole Ntutu. Vincent Karoli reports on the day the leaders urged residents to respect the law, maintain peace, and avoid actions that could escalate tensions in the community.
Following the death of 3 people after police opened fire on residents who allegedly attempted to remove a suspect from a police cell in Sagamian, Narok County, leaders have condemned the incident and urged residents to follow the law when seeking the release of arrested persons. Narok Governor Patrick Ole Ntutu described the incidents as unfortunate and cautioned residents against attempting to remove suspects from police cells, saying there are legal procedures for securing their release.
Niseme tu ya kwamba kuna shida jana ilitokea hapa Sagamian. A very unfortunate situation. Ya kwamba kuna mtu alikuwa ameshikwa na askari. Alafu wananchi wametoka pale wanaenda kutaka kutoa ile mtu kwa cell. Na hiyo unajua ni hatia kubwa. Mwananchi kwenda kutoa mtu ambaye ameshikwa na askari. Hiyo shida ilitokea, askari wakaanza kufetua risasi kwa sababu hiyo wanajaribu kufanya ya kwamba watu watatoroka. Unfortunately, we have lost 3 people.
Narok South Member of Parliament Kitilai Ntutu also warned former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua against what he termed public ethnic politics, urging national leaders to focus on issues affecting Kenyans rather than advancing community or regional interests.
Maneno hii ya delegate imeisha. Maneno ya kwamba sasa mnataka nini? Nataka kuomba Mheshimiwa Gachagua awache kugawanya Wakenya kikabila. Sijui kama tuko pamoja.
Kitilai praised President William Ruto's administration for implementing development projects across the country, while Narok Woman Representative Rebecca Tongei called on residents to maintain peace and reject tribal divisions.
Nataka kuwaomba wale watu hapana sikia maneno ya rais wetu. Tafadhali tuamuka asubuhi, tuchukue kura, tuchukue kupande, twende turudishe hii serikali kwa kiti. Na mimi nataka kuwatangazia 90% ya Wamasai wako ndani.
Kwa sababu sisi tuna support mtu ambaye anafanya kazi taifa la Kenya. Na hiyo ndio tunasema 2 term ya William Samoei Ruto.
The leaders urged Kenyans to support development efforts, respect elected leaders and maintain peace, while also calling on religious leaders and the public to pray for the country's leadership. Vincent Karoli, KUTV.
Thank you, Karoli. Now, former Cabinet Secretary for Gender Aisha Jumwa has warned Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale against undermining her and Coast residents who do not support the Kenya Kwanza administration. Speaking in Kilifi, Jumwa said Coast residents will not allow Duale to dictate their political direction ahead of the 2027 general election. Jumwa, who previously served as Cabinet Secretary, described herself as the 21st century Mekatilili Wamenza, saying she will lead the Mijikenda community on the political path to take ahead of the 2027 general elections. She also accused Duale of dishonesty, insisting that he will not secure President William Ruto's re-election.
And I will carry the Mijikenda nation and the people of the coast, and I will show them direction. Kama unafikiri hakuna, mimi nimekuambia niko. Kwa hivyo nataka nikwambie Aden Duale, tuheshimu, jiheshimu na uache unafiki, kwa sababu nakumbuka wakati rais alifanya dismissal ya cabinet, wewe Aden Duale ulipelekwa defense. After some few hours ukatolewa defense ukapelekwa environment. Ulinipigia simu wewe mwenyewe mimi na ukasema William Ruto hana roho, hana shukurani, ni mtu mbaya sana, anachukua defense amepatia girlfriend yake. It is you, Duale, who called me.
Now, Kenya's watch industry is on the verge of taking a new direction as manufacturers from China seek to expand their business partnerships with the East African market. Rather than simply exporting finished products, these companies are now exploring opportunities to establish production partnerships, private labels, and customized watch manufacturing tailored to the needs of the African consumers. Kenya is seen as a key hub due to the size of its market and its strategic position in connecting regional markets. These developments emerged during the meeting that brought together manufacturers and buyers in the watch industry held at the Sarit Expo Center here in Nairobi.
The one thing that we put it on our core of our company is the quality. We have to maintain, make sure every watch that goes to our customer, they have to like it, to make sure the quality, everything will be perfect, just perfectly. We will listen to what the customer needs. We will listen to their hearts and what they really need in the market, what they can sell, and to feedback me, then we will change our flaws in our products and make it better. And second, the transportation in Kenya, I think it's gonna be great, like a very great advantage for Kenya markets. Because Kenya, there are a lot of ports. This will help a lot of countries from Africa, they move goods through Kenya market to their own country. So they are gonna be easier or convenient for them to export or import goods from other countries.
The market is good, although if you ask me from a seller's perspective, I think we need to do more campaigns on watch wearing. Not a lot of people have the watch wearing culture, but we also need to do, again, more campaigns on watch rebranding. We need to get our creativity in the game, you know. We need to have beaded watches. We need to have watch straps that are made from Maasai shukas coated with something, creativity, to improve on the watch wearing culture.
The Chinese watches, to be honest, they're really affordable. Anyone can come and buy them. And to be honest, you can't compare the prices for the Chinese watches with the prices that you can get in any store or watch store in Kenya, because here that's where they're selling them at a very, not retail, but wholesale price.
Now, still on investment, private investors are transforming their once dry Galana Kulalu plains in Kilifi and Tana River counties into a year-round agricultural hub using modern irrigation and solar power to boost food production, create jobs, and reduce Kenya's reliance on imported foods, as Petrofaith now tells us in the following report.
Nyumba Agri-Products Limited in Galana Kulalu, Kilifi County is using solar-powered irrigation and modern farming technology to produce maize, onions and other crops throughout the year as private investors seek to turn the arid region into a major food production hub.
Basically, Nyumba Agri, what we are doing, we are growing food for our country, majorly on cereals and vegetables. For the cereals, we are doing maize, both seed and commercial. Like the crop where we have ahead of us is a plot of seed maize. We have a lot for commercial maize. And vegetables, mainly we are dealing with onions. We have 310 hectares of onion currently on the ground. For the seed maize, we have 275 hectares currently.
Water from the Galana River is stored in reservoirs and earth dams before being pumped through the farm's irrigation network. Solar panels runs much of the system, helping the farm overcome limited access to the national grid.
Irrigation is the backbone of every farming project. It's the key points when it comes to farming. For us having multiple reservoirs and we have access to the irrigation water in the center pivots, it enables us to have a crop throughout the year.
The project is also focusing on value addition, with lower grade onions processed into flakes and cassava turned into starch. A sisal processing plant is also under construction.
So our main aim for this project is to feed this nation. So everything here which is being harvested, it's really going to our locals. We are not exporting anything.
The farm currently employs about 1,800 people, mostly from neighboring communities, providing income for families in the area.
Hii mradi imenisaidia juu nafunza wadogo zangu na pia ninalisha wadogo zangu na pia wanavaa kupitia mradi.
Kuna vijana wengi tulikuwa tumekaa manyumbani hatuna makazi, lakini huu mradi ulipokuja ukaanza na ulipokuwa unaanza na sisi vijana tukapata makazi.
Nyumba Agri Products is among private investors supporting the wider Galana Kulalu Food Security Project, which targets about 300 acres for irrigation and commercial agriculture. With modern irrigation, renewable energy and value addition driving the transformation, Galana Kulalu could become a major source of food and employment, turning once dry plains into a productive agricultural frontier. Petra Faith, KUTV.
Now, as politics ahead of the 2027 general election continue to gain momentum in the Mount Kenya region, government leaders led by the Cabinet Secretary for ICT, William Kabogo, have stepped up efforts to seek the support of residents in the region, which hold significant political influence. Speaking during a Mount Kenya caucus meeting held in Kiambu County, the leaders condemned tribal and divisive politics, stressing the importance of national unity and reaching out to grassroots residents to explain government projects and policies. Vincent Karoli reports.
As politics ahead of the 2027 general election continue to accelerate in the Mount Kenya region, government leaders have continued to seek the support of residents while condemning tribal and divisive politics. Speaking during a Mount Kenya caucus meeting that brought together cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries and more than 1,000 village elders from Kiambu County, the leaders said the Mount Kenya region has an important role to play in the upcoming election. Cabinet Secretary for ICT William Kabogo has criticized politics that seek to divide Kenyans, saying leaders should avoid remarks that could incite hatred and instead preach national unity.
So if you know who killed Raila, why are you telling us? Who else was killed when you were deputy president? Because you seem to know a lot. Mlima si ni Kenya? Mlima si ni Kenya? Nairobi si ni Kenya? Tuwache kutenganishwa kwa misingi ya kikabila. Hiyo maneno tulimaliza wakati wa ubeberu.
On his part, Principal Secretary for Energy Alex Kamau Washira said they are making every effort to ensure that the government regains support in the Mount Kenya region, saying the move is important before Kenyans make their decision on the country's leadership.
We are reminding our people that we have a lot to celebrate within the government of William Samoei Ruto, and let us reap what we can within the administration of William Samoei Ruto. And we're also telling our people, because we had grassroots leaders spread across Kiambu County, that they should go and spread the good gospel of what the president has been able to do.
Principal Secretary for Prison Services Salome Wairimu said the collaboration with Nyumba Kumi elders is aimed at reaching grassroots residents and explaining the government projects being implemented. Vincent Karoli, KUTV.
At the same time, Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi has strongly defended the government's plan to construct Kenya's first ever nuclear power plant in Siaya County, blaming recent local protests from outside forces aiming to sabotage regional growth. Speaking in Bondo, the Energy CS urged the residents of Siaya County to back the 500 billion Kenyan shillings proposed energy project that will not only generate power for the country, but also spur massive infrastructure development in the region.
Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi has blamed the recent series of demonstrations against the proposed nuclear power plant in Siaya County on individuals who are against development in the region. Wandayi blames individuals who hail from outside Siaya County for funding demonstrations to incite the locals to reject the establishment of nuclear power plant in Lenya area in Bondo sub-county.
Hii mradi ya nuclear power plant ni mradi ya maana sana. Hii ni itakuwa mradi wa kwanza wa nuclear power production katika hii nchi ya Kenya. Na kwa bahati nzuri Mheshimiwa Rais na serikali yake wameamua kwamba hiyo mradi iletwe hapa Siaya County. Na hiyo mradi itagharimu karibu shilingi bilioni 500. Nusu trilioni ya pesa. Sisi kama wananchi wa eneo hili wa kaunti ya Siaya lazima tushukuru serikali kuu, na lazima tuwe katika mstari wa mbele kuhifadhi hiyo mradi na kuiunga mkono ili itekelezwe haraka iwezekanavyo.
Wandai also thanked the political class from the region who have backed the project for the benefit of the people.
Na wanatumiwa na wengine ambao hawapendi development ya hii eneo, lazima wakemewe vilivyo.
The CS further urged the residents to back President William Ruto's administration, for it has brought development projects ranging from the nuclear project to allocating more than 2 billion for electricity connectivity in this fiscal year. The CS remains steadfast that the plant will not only supply grid power but also massive infrastructure development across the Nyanza region.
All right, now on to sports action this morning. The 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations came to an end with Cameroon crowned African Women's champions after winning the tournament for the first time in their football history. After previous attempts in 2004, 2014 and 2016, Cameroon finally lifted the trophy. They defeated Malawi 3-0 in a clean sheet victory at Moulay El Hassan Stadium in Rabat, Morocco, with Marie Nga scoring a brace while Ndijo Eto sealing the victory with a third goal. The historic triumph makes Cameroon the fourth different nation to win the Women's Africa Cup of Nations, joining Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea and South Africa. And the 23rd Federation of East Africa Secondary Schools Sports Association Games is underway in Morocco, Morogoro, Tanzania, with 5 East African countries competing for regional honors. Kenya, Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda, and host Tanzania are taking part in the competition, which runs from the 16th to the 23rd of August. Beyond competition, the Fiesta Games are providing students with a platform to discover, develop, and showcase their sporting abilities while promoting regional interaction and unity.
Let's renew our commitment to investing in our young people, strengthening regional cooperation and building an East African that is peaceful, inclusive, and globally competitive. May these games inspire excellence. May they deepen friendship. May they strengthen regional integration. May they nurture the leaders of tomorrow.
Now that brings us to the end of news update this morning on Biashara Tuesday. We'll be taking a very short break. When we come back, we shall be having a discussion that I mentioned earlier of workers' unions in the country, and we shall be joined by representatives of the HIA, which is the newest trade union in the country, and they will be helping us understand how best can we foster the dreams of workers in the country, the cooperation between the employers and of course the unions, and how well can we have a good working environment. Remember last week we had a discussion on how workers in the country, especially in the public sector, can improve service delivery. Today we are talking about trade unions. Stay tuned for that discussion shortly after the break.
We talk
It's a whole planet. We'll explain it.
It's right to say that a proper environment means even better product.
Absolutely. On EarthCheck, we move on various topics that touch on this mother planet.
I really enjoy doing these activities with my peers and my organization.
Beekeeping is not just about the bees, it's about our environment and the future of our lives.
It is an open secret that if you don't take care of the environment, then the environment will take care of you.
Judge of the Environment and Land Court.
Looking on various stories and topical issues that affect us, that affect our dear planet. True care begins with understanding.
Na tumepitisha sheria mpya kupitia ile Environmental Management Act. Sasa kwamba wakati unapewa leseni lazima utoe ile inaitwa bond, environmental bond.
My name is Emmanuel Kutosi, and join me every Wednesday for EarthCheck, where I'll be sure to keep you updated.
Conversations on matters health are important for you. From the nitty-gritties of what it takes to take care of yourself on a daily basis to the policies that affect your well-being at a national level, we have all these conversations on one show.
In terms of the nose, we deal with allergies, we deal with sinuses, and even nosebleed. It's simple things and also big things as well.
Make our homes safe spaces where children are able to talk, feel validated without being judged, because the young people want to be heard.
Every Thursday, 7:30 p.m., join me, Yvonne Kemuma, on Focus on Health to keep you abreast of these conversations right here on KUTV.
We talk about the earth, but how well do we really know it? It's a whole planet. We'll explain it.
It's right to say that a proper environment means even better product.
Absolutely. On EarthCheck, we move on various topics that touch on this mother planet.
I really enjoy doing these activities with my peers and my organization.
Beekeeping is not just about the bees, it's about our environment and the future of our lives.
It is an open secret that if you don't take care of the environment, then the environment will take care of you.
Judge of the Environment and Land Court.
Looking on various stories and topical issues that affect us, that affect our dear planet. True care begins with understanding.
Na tumepitisha sheria mpya kupitia ile Environmental Management Act. Sasa kwamba wakati unapewa leseni lazima utoe ile inaitwa bond, environmental bond.
My name is Emmanuel Kutosi, and join me every Wednesday for EarthCheck, where I'll be sure to keep you updated.
Until we sit together as peers, hapo ndipo tutaweza kusema by the mimi ni job ninatafuta, ama ni opportunities, ama ninaanzisha kampuni and I don't know where to start from. But it is in spaces like these where we have people who have walked 5 steps ahead of us, 2-3 years ahead of us, who can walk the journey with us. We appreciate the role of people who are 20 years ahead of us, but if you're 2-3 years ahead of me, I would maybe learn from you better because I understand your language, you understand my language, the culture and everything. So that is the basic, simple reason as to why we are here. So I would like to invite you and me to have an open engagement.
to actually ask questions. Feel free to give feedback, because out of this engagement today, we should be able to draft a statement. What is a statement? It is a consolidation of all our voices and all our minds together, so that we say, on Thursday, the 13th of August 2026, 250 people, 150, 60 people sat together at Kenyatta University and said, this is what we want to see. As young people, and you know, we also represent different places. Nimetoka Narok, mwingine ametoka sijui wapi. So Kenya is equally represented in this space. So you are actually an ambassador of your county here. So feel free to talk about the issues that you need your governor to do, or that you need your Minister of Health to do, because here we are representing not just ourselves, but even our families. Actually, we need to realize that we are carrying more than just ourselves. You're carrying your family with you, the challenges that you're facing as an individual, as a family, as a community, as a county, ziko hapa, solutions ziko hapa, challenges ziko hapa, and we can give recommendations from here. So that is my brief introduction. I hope you enjoy yourselves. I hope you have fun. I hope you learn, and I hope you connect. I wanted for us to be able to connect and buy books.
As you have heard from the MC, and I'm the president of our environmental club, Environmental Rangers, and I'd like to briefly talk about our club. So first of all, we are Pleasant Hope Academy, and we have partnered with a coffee in which we enforce the greening of our environment. So for our club, we like enforcing on planting of trees. And right now, I can testify that we have grown over 250 trees in our community. And since we love our environment as well as our trees, we have a poem that also talks about planting of trees, importance of trees, and also poses a question to you. So I'd like to welcome my team to help us in conveying this message. Let's clap for them.
Who do you think provides you with oxygen? Save the trees. These are these hours to enjoy. Trees can be short, trees can be tall, whatever kind, I like them all. They need water, soil, space, and light. We give them all those days and nights. Trees are the kindest thing I know. They do not harm, they simply grow. Our souls could never be free if you have never sowed a seed. If you have not planted a tree, the time is now. We are one and the same. Save the world and plant a tree. Let's go green and stop global warming. Let the trees thrive and they'll keep us alive.
I had a really long speech, actually, on the keynote, and I wanted to talk to you guys a bit about emerging technologies.
All right, welcome back. And we are seated. When you're seated, you know, it's about to get down on matters entrepreneurship. And this morning, we are talking about trade unions. And it's something interesting because I'm just made to understand that Kudeya is more than 80 years old. It's even older than Kenya. And to help us understand its mandate, what it is, because I know most of you do not even understand what it is. You just know of the unions that you see their leaders or their secretary generals regularly on media stations or giving out pressers. But today we want to understand something interesting. With KUTV here, we are joined by Mr. Camus, who is the First Assistant Secretary General and Administrator of KUTV Workers Union. And we are also joined by Mercy Nyakio, who is a public health professional and, of course, an enthusiast of trade unions in the country. They'll be helping us understand how KUTV works and what more is onto it, or what is really deep into this conversation that we are having this morning. Just to make you understand that KUTV is a union that collectively it has teachers, medical practitioners, the hotels and everything in between. So allow me have the guests introduce themselves to you before I butcher anything. Let me have the guests introduce themselves to you. Karibu sana to our studios this morning. And today, let me begin with ladies first.
Thank you.
Mercy, please give us an introduction.
My name is Mercy Nyakio, with a public health background, but currently I'm the Deputy Secretary General of KUTV, representing the hospital sector. So with time, you'll realize that all the leaders who will come on board are representing different sectors. And I'm so glad to be here, looking forward to the engagement.
Karibu sana to
Asante sana.
this morning. Yes.
Thank you, my sister. Allow me first of all to introduce myself. My name is Brother Kamuye Justin. I told you it's only in church and in unions that we call each other brother and sister. First of all, before anything else, allow me to submit the greetings of our able SG. The SG for KUTV Workers Union is Brother Albert Njeru. We are here on his behalf and on behalf of the board and the secretariat. Allow me also to thank KUTV. I understand you are 11 years old and we want to appreciate you for the good work you are doing. We are here just because we want to forge a partnership. We want to walk this journey. This journey is starting today. And through you, as we work together, you'll help us tell Kenyans, inform the good people of this republic about what we do, specifically KUTV Workers Union. I'm the First Assistant Secretary General of the union, as well as the union's administrator. Thank you.
Now that you are the first administrator, I think you're best suited to tell us what KUTV is, what it stands for, and of course, what are your mandates in the country?
Thank you so very much. I'll first of all say KUTV is an abbreviation that simply means the Kenya Union of Domestic, Hotels, Education Institutions, and Hospital Workers. It is an affiliate of the Central Organization of Trade Unions, which is led by none other than Papa Francis Atwoli. All of us are aware. So this union is one of the oldest trade unions. It is the oldest because it was founded in the 1940s, about 1942. And it was founded by the Domestic Servants Associations. Remember, my sister, that time we had the colonial masters. So these colonial masters actually employed domestic servants. And these domestic servants were not comfortable. They were not actually enjoying the decent work environment. They were getting into problems. And this common problem made them to come together, so that in unity they could now be able to pursue their rights. So that's how this union was founded, the Domestic Servants Association, which is why we respect a lot the domestic servants. I'm sure, I don't know whether you have one at home. Those are people we celebrate. They are our heroes because they are the foundation of this union. So this union was founded in the 1940s, and about in 1951, remember there was the colonial government. There was a system that now led to registration of this union as a domestic workers union. And of course, all along, the union has actually indulged in mandate to recruit members, recruit workers and make them members of the union, because there's a difference between workers and union members. So union members are those who sign up to join the union. So the workers, actually members from different sectors, the domestic sectors, the hotel sectors, when they are recruited, the union has a mandate to ensure that they are organized. To organize is to bring order, to bring them together, because you cannot execute your mandate well if your group is disjointed. So the first thing you do is you assemble, you bring them together through organizing. And of course, after organizing, there's also the aspect of representation. Representation, of course, as we move along, you discover it happens at different levels. Representation right at place of work, representation through negotiation of terms of service, representation even up to the level of the court, and of course promotion of the rights and the welfare of these members of the union, not just general workers, specifically those who have joined the union. So it's a long journey, but basically just to set us off, that is what KUTV is, an affiliate of KOTU, and representing the domestic hotels, education institution workers who are members, and actually to ensure that they are organized, they are represented, and actually among other factors, which we'll explain.
Now let me come back to you, Sister Mercy, now that we are into sisters and brothers. Coming from a health background, are there other roles that KUTV plays apart from just solving workers' problems? Because primarily I believe that is the reason why most unions are formed, to address their pressing issues. Now with KUTV, are there other roles that it plays beyond just solving problems?
I don't want to say it's unfortunate, but what most people know about trade unions is from strikes. And I think you also alluded to it, that we've only come to know some of the trade unions because most of the times it's a strike issue. But trade unions do most work, or most of their work is behind the scenes, other than now the presser. And part of our mandate, adding to what he had said, organizing and recruiting, we also train our members on their labor rights, and also emerging trends that are coming up in the world of work. Because currently we have globalization, we have digitalization, we really have a lot of things, climate change. So it is also part of our roles to train our members on how to work within the changes, and also to embrace the changes. So we have the trainings, we also handle trade disputes and grievances, and we also negotiate for their labor rights and also working conditions at the places of work. And we also create an industrial relation or harmony between employers and employees, because from our end, we always say, yes, members, trade union is not about the topmost leader. It's not about our secretary general or our board, but it's like a pyramid scheme. So the base being the member. So the moment the membership is messed up with, we really don't have the secretary general. We really don't have this board or this structure. So our aim is ensuring that our members are protected. And our members being protected, it also means there is a good working relationship between the employer and the employee. Because if we mess up with the employer's duty, or if our work we train our members to maybe sabotage the issues of the employer, these members can lose employment, and then the whole structure crumbles down. So part of our role is ensuring that there is a good working relation between the employer and the employee, and also now, as they are working together, also the rights of the employee is also being looked at. Yes.
Now, I have thought of a case where we are having domestic workers getting to different countries, and the most popular one is Saudi Arabia, and those such countries. Are they also, if they register as members, most probably the employers are not part of the union. So when a a problem comes out of that engagement, how do you solve that now that the employee is not a member of the union?
We also deal with migrant workers, or we also have members who are migrant workers, either already in the destination countries or those that have already worked there and also come back, or what we call, we refer to as return migrant workers. And we have an association for the migrant workers in Kenya. It's called KUTV, Domestic Migrant Workers Association. So with the association, or with the migrant now domestic workers, what we do is we create a channel, especially now if there's there's an issue, example that you've given in Saudi Arabia. Our member is employed in a certain house in Saudi Arabia. She gets a challenge. Already there is a communication challenge, a communication channel that she'll get back to us. And we've had cases, a lot of successful cases where we've represented members who are working in the different destination countries and has been successful. We've also been able to repatriate some of our members from the destination countries. So, and also now in labor migration in Kenya, we have something that we call the bilateral labor agreements. So even with these bilateral labor agreements, we ensure that the labor issue of our members or workers are also addressed in those agreements. And part of that is also training people or members that are going to these countries about their rights, on what you're supposed to look out for before you migrate, which is the right agent that you're supposed. How do you find the right agent? How do you identify that the contract that you're signing is the right contract? How do you identify that the contract that you're actually signing is the one that they will give you once you get to the destination country? So also with the migrant workers, what we work with is ensuring that the worker is fully informed about what they're going to get on the ground. So yeah.
It makes me think of this saying that in the Bible, that my people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge, because I believe that if most Kenyans would have known about this union, their life would be much easier when it comes to adversities that they face when they're out of the country. But now let me come back to you, Brother Kamuya. When does a dispute come from being a situation where it is solved internally and now it's going to the labor courts? What determines the intensity of the same?
Thank you so much. There are two categories. The first category, the first phase, we call it a grievance. And of course, the second category is the dispute. So before we get into a dispute, first of all, we must have a grievance. A grievance is a complaint raised by a worker, maybe regarding his work, maybe regarding the terms and conditions. I'll give you an example of a worker in a public secondary school who has not earned, a worker who has not been given sufficient tools. So he's not able to discharge his mandate. So he starts complaining. You know, in Kiswahili we talk of kunungunika. So he starts grumbling, these work tools are not effective. So at that stage, we encourage that can he get in touch with the immediate supervisor, who is, let's say, the school bazaar. So we encourage that if the two can be able to solve and the problems facing this worker are dealt with, then we say we thank God. If it's not solved, it escalates to the level where it is brought to the attention of the school manager, the principal, who is also now supposed to look into this issue, solve the problem. Let's say it is a dismissal, some warning, some allegations of wrongs that have been committed. So if it fails to be arrested at that stage between the school manager and this worker, it's supposed to actually be brought to the attention of the branch. We are assuming this is a union member. It is still a grievance. So it gets to a level whereby the branch, specific branch, let's say if one is in Isiolo County, the Isiolo County branch of KUTV indulges in the matter to try and solve. So where it is not able to be solved, it's reported to the head office, and immediately the Secretary General writes to the Cabinet Secretary, the Ministry of Labor. Then it changes now from a grievance and becomes a trade dispute. So this trade dispute is now brought to the attention of the Cabinet Secretary, who now invokes sections of the law, appoints a county conciliator, county labor officer. The county labor officer is supposed to conciliate. The law has given this labor officer time to call parties. Now remember, it's now a trade dispute. So if the county labor officer fails to conciliate, if there's no agreement between these parties after 2 or 3 meetings, then this county labor officer, by operation of the law, issues the parties with a certificate of unresolved trade dispute. So it is at that juncture that now the trade union, in this context, KUTV, now we hold this certificate and now make a claim in court. We file a claim in the Employment and Labor Relations Court, where this worker was working. If he was working in Homa Bay, for example, then we go to the nearest station, that is Kisumu. If this worker was working in Kibwezi, so we have to look at the nearest Employment and Labor Relations Court. We file the claim, we serve the respondent, and of course the case management procedures are undertaken. And the court hears and determines this matter.
In a Kenyan setup, I would imagine that for you to go ahead with a case, you'd want to give a lot of money in terms of giving to lawyers and all that. Is that the same case when it comes to the disputes that are solved under KUTV?
Thank you. It's a very brilliant question, and thank you for asking that question. Now, one of the ideas why trade unions was formed is that the workers who are being represented, most of them could be vulnerable. They may be in a position, they may not be able to raise the legal fees required by council, by the legal fraternity, let's say to pursue suits before the courts of law. So when members join the union, they pay a premium. This premium is what we call the union dues. So one of the reasons why the union dues are paid on a monthly basis, and thank God we are informing good Kenyans, is that where we have a problem, let's say unfair termination has occurred. So this member simply needs to inform the union takes up the matter, and based on the membership subscriptions, because union membership is serviced through payment of subscriptions, and they're paid on monthly basis. So the union will utilize this pool of resources to pay for all the legal costs. So we take over these matters. We do not now allow this member to shoulder the costs. So it becomes manageable. Remember, it's a pool. Yes.
I'm thinking of that pool in a business perspective, because I'm thinking if I'm paying premiums, is it like a form of insurance or something like that?
Now, it is they pay 2% of their pay on a monthly basis. So when one of us has a problem, let's say you have a problem and you are a member of the union, I may not be having a problem. My sister here may not be having a problem. So the union now spreads the risk. You know, there's the aspect of spreading the risk so that it becomes lighter. So the chances of all workers getting into problems are minimal. But those who get into problems, the union takes over and actually pursues these matters in court. And maybe for your information, trade unions under the Employment Labor Relations Court Act, there's a provision, a window where union officials and or officers are allowed by law to go before the Employment Labor Relations Court and prosecute matters. The two of us have been allowed by the SG. Our names have been forwarded to the registrar of the ELRC. So we are mandated. We handle court issues for and on behalf of our members, so that instead of them going in person, the union undertakes the exercise, which could be very expensive. Suppose they fail to get a pro bono advocate, it becomes expensive. So, but when they are members of the union, it's manageable. It feels better.
Well, that's very interesting. It brings me to the question now, Machi, Sister Mercy, because we if I am having 2% of my salary being given to the union, that means that there are some form of risk that maybe I foresee. So from your perspective, are there sectors in the sectors that the union represents that you see the problems that they're having more than other sectors, or generally what are the problems that your workers face in the different sectors that you represent?
I think the most vulnerable sector is the domestic sector. Because first, these workers don't have contracts. We still view them as informal workers. Yes, they form the most bit of employment in Kenya, but they're still not yet recognized. And that's why as a union, we've been pushing for the ratification of the International Labour Organization Convention 189, which is purely decent work for domestic workers. Because with the ratification of this instrument, it will ensure that the domestic workers are recognized first as workers. Because the same way I'm going to work at 8 a.m., I'm also leaving someone working at home. So this worker is also entitled to all the rights that I'm also enjoying. That means all the leaves that I can get, this worker is also entitled to it. The minimum that is set in the Employment Act, the 21 days annual leave, this domestic worker is also supposed to enjoy that. The maternity leave, the 90 days, she's also supposed to enjoy that. But because of the nature of the informality, or maybe because we don't recognize them as normal workers, you'll find that if a domestic worker is supposed to proceed on maternity leave, the option is, if you're leaving, make sure you give me someone else. So when I'm going for my maternity leave as a domestic worker, first of all, I'll not be paid. Yet the Employment Act says I'm supposed to, it is a full pay leave. So the 90 days I'm going, yes, but I'll not be paid. And also my job security, I don't have a job security. There's no chance, or there's minimal chance that I can come back. Or if I'm coming back, it's because someone else was holding that gap for me. So I don't have a pay. The annual leave, the 21 days, there's an interesting conversation I was having with someone in Matatu. And I don't know even how we started this conversation, but we were talking about now the domestic workers. And she mentioned, are they supposed to go for the 21 days? I said, are they a worker? Yes. Why can't they go for the annual leave? Because they don't, for them, they're just at home. No, they work. They're also workers. The law recognizes them as workers. So even with the 21 days, it's supposed to be on full pay. Now, the 1 day, the Employment Act also says that I'm supposed to have a 1 day off within the 7 days. It's so clear the employer can choose which day it is. That one, the employer has the liberty. But then within the 7 days, I'm supposed to have a 1 day off. But you see, for the domestic worker, what happens, it will be on a Sunday, but we will go with you to church. You'll be the one who is responsible for the kids. When we come back, you'll have to cook. Or in the morning, make sure you've cooked all the meals. You see, that one is not a day off. So the main challenge, or the sector that has most challenges, is the domestic sector. And purely because it's still recognized as just, a helping position at home. Yet it's still a work. It's still work.
They even call you auntie.
They even call you auntie. Or, which is so unfortunate, mboch. Actually, someone asked me, mbona nipatie mbocho pesa mob? Why not? Are they not a worker? Are they not helping you? If they decide to leave, you see with what happens during the December holidays, you'll always see how employers of these domestic workers realize how important this domestic worker is, because you're not so sure if atarudi ama atarudi. And now there is the domestic sector, and now this other sector, the term contracts, the short-term contracts that we are experiencing, it's really a challenge. You'll find someone is employed in January, they've been given a 3-month contract. This employee who is on contract, you'll see that they'll not be put on any social protection provision, because you're just here. They will term it as a probation period. which is not, because this employee is still working. This is happening in now hotels, hospital, and also education institution. And now, currently, we are having hotels employing students as interns. And you're being told you're just learning. But you're doing the work that is supposed to be done in that hotel. Like, we don't have a full-time employed cook in that place, but we have an intern. And this intern will only maybe be given 2,000 for transport in a month. This intern will be told, you're not supposed to join a union because after all, you're just a student. So when it comes to representing these workers, we also face a challenge of, if I get you into a union and this employer does not recognize you as a worker, what happens? I'm also putting you at a risk of, if the employer knows that you're in a union, they'll not renew your contract. So you see those challenges. The job insecurity or precarious work has really increased in our nation, with unfortunately, with the government also setting the precedence of, we are supposed to employ workers at contracts, which is not right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's very interesting, because it's a very huge percentage, especially in education institutions. KU are also victims, but let's not go into that. Now, because I'm being told that time is really not on our side, I'd like for you to tell us, Brother Kamuya, the rights that you find most people misunderstand, especially for employers and employees, the rights that you feel like they really misunderstand.
Okay. Allow me to quote a quote by the director of ILO, Brother Gilbert, the former Prime Minister for Togo. He says that if workers are not able to get decent work, if they're not able to get decent work, then what happens? They lose the confidence to build on their future. Now, there's the concept of decent work. Decent work is just a combination of the following. One, fundamental rights. Fundamental rights are basic rights. Let me give you an example. The right to earn your salary. And that is where the rains start beating us, because if you look at the economic occurrences, they become so unbearable that the only hope we have as workers is, am I going to get my pay? You look at the issues of inflation, the only hope we have is that, am I going to get my pay? So it is all defeated if we fail to get the pay. So there are fundamental rights like the right to fair labor practices, where we expect workers to report and work for moderate hours. The standard hours are 8 hours, unless if the parties negotiate a CB and regulate otherwise. The right to earn that salary, the right to get the leaves, so that one is able to embrace the work-life balance. So much of the rights that are actually violated is the issues of job protection. Most employers indulge in unfair labor practices where they separate with the employees in a very unhonorable way. Because the law requires that if I've worked for you and now you feel like the end has come, can we be modest? Can we embrace some procedure? But there are these employers who wake up today and they kick out workers, they throw out the workers, and without even following the correct procedure. And even after the separation, they do not go further to do what the law requires. There's a difference. You can follow what the law says to make it modest. There's also the issue of job creation. We advocate for a stronger private sector that can be able to create opportunities for the young people. Look at the nation where we are, you discover most young people are not having their jobs. But if we have a strong private sector, we'll be sure that they have the jobs. The issue of collective bargaining. Collective bargaining is where we sit together, and this we call upon the private sector to be serious about some things. Because if we have been making profits January to December, it is also fair that we sit down and discover that the workers played a significant role, because labor is the most significant agent of production. So can we negotiate and agree on the terms that will enhance their pay, give them a better commuter allowance, give them a better housing allowance, give them more leave days, so that they are able to be more productive? And also, of course, the issue of social security. There are basic issues like even compliance with the statutory requirements of remittance of NSSF. There are employers who fail to do that, and which is why upon retirement you discover an employee, he gets into old age poverty. Poverty that is experienced after work. They are not able to even meet their basic needs. So which is why as a union we advocate and call upon the employers to go and look at provisions of the Constitution, that is Article 41, that encourages that can workers join the trade unions. It is sad to say there are principals like in the public secondary schools who are members of KUPET, members of KNUT. Some of them are even holding positions, but they are the same people who get back to schools and toss our members left and right, quarrel our members on why they have joined trade unions. So then something is wrong somewhere. If we cannot just acknowledge the fact that there's a right to join, a right to associate, a right to join an association of one's choice, and a union is an association of workers. So then it means that these are the people we expect that they should be driving this agenda. But they're the same people who engage in rogue practices. So we call them to order, and we request them that do to others what you expect others to do unto you.
All right.
The golden rule.
All right. Now, Sister Mercy, I'd like for you to conclude this for us, because time is not really on our side. To avoid conflicts with employers, especially when the employee does something wrong at workplace, tell us how an employer can go about this situation. Of course, not to kukuwe na mgwaruzano na the union and the employer.
Brother Kamuye mentioned or gave a guideline on how trade grievances or disputes are handled. And you see, the good thing with Kenya, we have a tripartite agreement, which comprises of the government, which is now the Ministry of Labor, and now FK, which represent the employers, and KUTV, which is a trade union for employees. We always work like that as a tripartite body, and we encourage social dialogue. So even as a union, as KUTV, what we do, the collective bargaining agreements that we do, it's an agreement between workers through the union and now the management. And you see, with this agreement, what we are setting is how we are supposed to relate with employees. So the moment there is something that we are not aligning ourselves with the agreement, the first thing always will be from the union side is to request for a meeting to get to understand what is the gap that we are not feeling, or what is the challenge that we are having. And we've always encouraged that social dialogue, just to get to understand what are you understanding that you're not understanding, or what are we understanding that you're not understanding, and how can we resolve the issue. So most of the time you'll find us dialoguing, and especially for KUTV, it's so rare to find us on the street, because through our Secretary General, we always believe we can always first sit down. And the moment now we can't totally agree, the moment your disagreement is your part, and also maybe our disagreement is our part, that's when maybe you'll see us on the roads, which is so rare. Because for us, social dialogue is always the first, and it's always the main thing. So we also encourage the employers, if there is any challenge that you see, like yesterday we were in a meeting in one of the institutions whereby the management were not able to understand what's going on with the works committee or what the union role is, and then they just called us for a meeting just to get to understand what is the challenge, what is the main challenge. And with this social dialogue also, we get to learn about the institution, and also they get to learn about the union. So even from the employer side, the trade unions are not the enemies. We are actually trying to promote a good working relationship between the worker and the employer. And as I said earlier, if the institution is messed up with, we also don't have members. We don't celebrate in having members being declared redundant. We don't celebrate in having members complaining about issues. Our aim is, even as we are training the members on their labor rights, we are also training them on how to work best in that institution, to make that institution a better place, because if it's growing, it also means their terms and also salaries are also growing. So yeah.
All right. This has been a very interesting ride. Thank you so much, Sister Mercy. And Brother Kamuye for making time for us this morning, representatives from the top leadership of KUTV. And just so you know, we shall be having a series of these discussions. Today, we were just giving an introduction of what KUTV is, what its mandate is, and what it does for its members. If you don't know about the members, if you are a teacher, you have someone who is working at home for you. They're not teachers, so they cannot join KUPPET. They have their own union. So if you're not in a specific professional line that you can join a specific union that we are always hearing about, you know, we have KUPPET, we have for nurses union, KMPDU, and you're not sure where to join, KUTV is there for you and it shall represent you well. In other discussions on this series that you shall be having discussions on domestic workers, hospitality, education, healthcare, and of course the informal economy. We shall be having representatives from all these fields who shall be helping us understand how well you can be represented, your membership into the union, and how you can better yourself as a worker in the country with your rights. You will be knowing your rights according to these representatives from KUTV that we shall be having in our subsequent coverage on KUTV as a union, as a trade union in the country. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for making time for us. Pass our greetings to KUTV administration.
Thank you.
As you get back. Yes, so we are taking a very short break here on this coverage on Biashara Tuesday. When we come back, we shall be having a discussion on the state of the nation, and of course this will be on newspaper review, and helping us understand these two discussions will be youth leaders in our country who are helping us shape narratives according to youth perspective. So stay tuned for the same after the break.
The master's degree. And my view is, at this level, scholars are expected to mature their intellectual, ideological, and political positions in their scholarship. Because the LLB is fast, you know, and you just told about the rules and cases and whatnot. There is no time to anchor study of law in theoretical frameworks. You know, I know there is a bit of jurisprudence taught, but it's hardly, it's not enough. So when you come to the LLM, I think we should expect in the three areas that they are going to undertake it, that their intellectual, ideological, and political positions will mature. And that was my experience in Dar es Salaam when I did a master's, because you focus on a particular issue and you start reading stuff you couldn't read when you're doing your bachelor's, because it's a lot of courses, and so, but here somebody is going to come up with a topic on governance or trade and investment, and they have the time now to basically read and do their research, and I think that's why with the LLM, I haven't seen the curriculum, but I'm sure it talks a lot about, you know, the subjects. It takes a lot literature review, and I guess it's at that stage where law is analyzed and criticized and suggestion for reform made. Now, but in Kenya, we are very lucky that we have a transformative constitution, which actually has a theory of its interpretation, and is very clear that what we call staunch positivism, if you have done some jurisprudence, is associated with Professor Hart, and he basically, the mantra for him, or the dictum for him, was the law is a law is a law. Okay, so you study the rules, you don't critique them, you can vary them, you study case law, and that's it. You examine on whether you can actually answer the questions of what is a contract. You say it's offer acceptance and there is consideration, but contract law is more than those legal rules, because it doesn't exist, in a vacuum. And our constitution, and there's jurisprudence that is very, very, very clear when you read the various articles, 259, 159, preamble, article 22, and article 10 is also very, very important. And you read the Supreme Court Act, article section 3. It says very clearly that our constitution demands that when we are teaching, when we are doing research, we realize that the analysis of law has to be done in the historical, social, cultural, economic, technological, theological, spiritual, and political context. So what Hart called the non-legal phenomena, or Kelson talks about also the pure theory of law, but the Constitution, our Constitution says the Constitution doesn't exist in a vacuum. So you go back to history, back to economics, you go back to technology, and now we have artificial intelligence. You go back, to culture, languages and so forth. Because within that Constitution, there is an agenda for social transformation. Okay? Take, for example, if one of you will be researching on the presidency, for example, the articles that deal with the president very clearly say that we don't want the imperial presidency, okay, which we had for a long time, from 1963 to 2010, where the president is, by imperial you mean, we mean that the president is the President of the United States, the Queen of England, the Pope, all rolled in one. Very powerful office that was not accountable. And so the Constitution says, let's democratize and decentralize this power. So you create the county governments, you have institutions that actually also take that bit of power, and a lot of it, whether it's the judiciary, whether it's the office of the Attorney General, office of the DPP, although the occupiers of those offices, I don't think that they have internalized Articles 156 and 157, because they are told they shouldn't listen to anybody. You know, they don't need the president's advice to do what they're supposed to do. But that's the issue about implementation. It's very, 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 very difficult. As we know that you need a leadership that is committed to breathing life into the Constitution. But as Professor Kiwana says, on 27th of August 2010, this country gave birth to a beautiful baby called the Constitution. And then we handed the baby for upkeep to child traffickers. How do you expect the baby to grow? And that's the contradictions we have. People who find the Constitution inconvenient, we expect them to implement it. And that's where the whole quest for alternative political leadership is based. Because you need to get people who are going to look at these sites of struggle, whether it's land, whether it's environment, whether it's investment law, and deal with it. You can imagine if Chapter 12 of the Constitution, which deals with finance, if Okoito Mutata was president, the cases he files in court about odious deaths, he says we shouldn't pay because the Constitution was not complied upon. And those who took that money on our behalf should return it. Okay, even if they are banked it in New York or wherever. So the leadership becomes important in terms of implementation. And so going back to the LLM, the beautiful thing is the Constitution has allowed you also, has given you an idea of research and broad objective that whatever you research on is important in developing the jurisprudence that is in the Constitution. And that's a great opportunity to basically teach, research, and even practice the Constitution, within those factors, I've mentioned. And it's important, of course, to know that transformative constitutions are a phenomenon of the global South. You start with India, South Africa, in South America, Colombia, Ecuador, Venezuela, Argentina, and Brazil. So this notion that you can have a transformative constitution is based on the theory that law can be used as an instrument of change. And we have seen a bit of that in our Constitution. When you look at the robust public interest litigation that is happening, when citizens, even an individual citizen, they go to court and say, this is, unconstitutional. When you find the Gen Z uprising, interpreting Article 1 of the Constitution about sovereign power, because that's what they were saying. They were saying sovereign power is delegated to institutions and it can be withdrawn. And the people can exercise it, directly. And even under Article 3, if they had overthrown the government, it wouldn't have been a coup in my view, because they overthrow the government. That article says any change of a regime other than, one that invokes the Constitution is illegal. But if you are invoking the Constitution and you come into power, you can't. That's why they were never charged with treason. It wasn't possible to charge them with treason because they were drafting or political demands anchored on the Constitution. And that's very powerful from what I've seen in terms of, our Constitution. Some people don't see the gains we have made. They normally talk about what we've lost, but in struggle, every victory counts. That's why the women in this country haven't given up on that the truth as gender role, right? They're still fighting because that's what the Constitution, gives them. So the research for the 30 students, I'm told, who start, it's for them to pick the courses they like, but bear in mind that their research is required in the judiciary, is required in the legal firms, in the civil society, and that is a great component of judicial, a social transformation. It's also, I think, our students who are going to do, this course have a great opportunity as scholars in the global south, to market what I call reverse learning in constitutional law. Because I think the global north thinks that they have nothing to learn from the global south. And, I wait to see a day where our professors are invited to go and write a new constitution for the US and write one for the UK, which doesn't have one. Because what is happening in the global south on transformative constitution is very, very powerful way of social transformation. And even in international law, because that has been mentioned, I guess we all know about the great example in international law, which is called TRAIL, third world approaches in international law. And it was started by some of our professors. Professor Justice Joy Ngugi was part of it. Professor Makao Mutua, who has a great opportunity to be advised by President Ruto. The Professor James Gathi, and there is also other African professors, Professor Okafa. This is some literature that whoever is doing trade, investments should read, because it's very rich in critiquing international law. Although in our constitution, we've adopted it, but we have adopted it with the condition that it's aligned, to our constitution. So there's a lot of that will arm our scholars with knowledge to basically fight for social transformation, in this country. I also hope that the first cohort will be encouraged to research on what I call the search of struggle for social transformation in our constitution. And there are many sovereign power. There is a lot being done now on the Gen Z uprising and its strength and limitations. Gender equity and equality is still with us. Land, culture, language, technology, particularly the double-edged artificial intelligence, spiritualities, finance. So you can pick, it will be great if somebody, there is an open area which is not research at all, because we are talking about governance. If we can get some people interested in African justice systems, because the judiciary is very keen on it, but needs scholars who who look at African justice systems, which as you know, only 10% or less than 10% goes to our formal courts. I don't even know why we call them formal, because the majority go to the pastors and they go to elders. The Merus, I think they have their council in Jurinjeke. There is a lot that is happening in the judiciary about African traditional religions. Now they have integrated the two approaches, and so even Jurinjeke decides on a case, and thankfully they have agreed now that that they must have elders who are young, who are women. Because the last time I talked to them, they said, talking to 3 elders, they said, oh, we represent the dead and the living, and the yet to be born, and women and the young people cannot be members. So we told them, okay, you continue with your mandate, which is unconstitutional, and when you are ready, you should come back. And I hear they've come back. So these elders, when they decide, their judgments are being filed in subordinate courts. And I think that gives them some judicial coercive power, all right? Which is very dear to, very dear to them. And let's not forget, the British justice that we inherited is very adversarial. Okay, it doesn't seek restorative justice at all. Once you go to court, whoever loses, even if it's a brother or sister, there is enmity, But you go to the elders, they will always, make sure that their decision restores, the values of the community, so that if your brothers and sisters, you don't really hate each other, and I think that's that's important. So that's one area I think that is worth looking at. So I thank Kenya University Law School. Sorry, it's Kenyatta. I don't know why I called it Kenya. Kenyatta University Law School for getting actually involved in what I see as a very serious struggle of having scholars who are going to breathe life in the development of jurisprudence in this country, and also help us, to give us ideas in the struggle for liberation in all areas of our endeavor. And I thank you very much. What am I supposed to do to launch? Yeah. So I can happily launch. Yes. You'll be placed on this great initiative is launched. You know, and
all right, welcome back. We are ready for the discussion on the state of the nation. We just concluded a discussion on KUTV, that is a trade union of workers who are not in specific professional fields. If you're in the education sector and not a teacher, if you're in the health sector and not a nurse or a doctor, if you're in the informal sector where you are employed, as long as you are employed and you don't have a specific union like KUPET, you know, KMPDU, that you can join, KUTV is the one for you to be joining. That discussion concluded. We shall be having a series of the same, but right now I want us to talk about something different about the state of our nation, and we are talking about the newspapers, newspaper review. That is the newspapers that we are having this morning. Pretty much something that is familiar to you, but I want us to get the views from, of course, Fendo, and of course our very own Blue Smile, who are joining us this morning. We are all coming from this great university of Kenyatta University. They'll be helping us understand what is in the newspapers today and what can we make of it. Allow me to have the guests introduce themselves to you. Let me begin from you, Fendo.
Thank you very much. My name is Mr. Fendo Godwin. I'm very happy to be here this time. I think this is the first time this year, but I've been here for subsequent years. Thank you very much.
Karibu sana. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Listen.
Allow me to also welcome Fendo, because I am quite, I could say I am among the people who have been nurtured by this show. From the days when I was in the newsroom. Now I am out there advocating for development in rural areas, and also whatever is happening in Homa Bay. That we have very poor roads because of the situation. In fact, we are not to blame the president for these poor roads. We are supposed to blame the former presidents, because they are the ones who are prioritizing this marginalization of counties. So with devolution, I believe that we will be addressing those issues, and it is good that they are out to the public, that we are seeing them. My name is Hassan Leo. I am the president Vuguvugu la Vijana na Maendeleo Pwani.
All right, thank you so much, Pwani. Hautaongelea county yetu vibaya hivyo, but all right. Now let's just get into this discussion that we're having. Of course, we've been having so much going on concerning what transpired over the weekend in relation to the roads that we are having, comparisons being made on roads in Mount Kenya, roads in the Nyanza region. And just to say that roads in the Nyanza region are among the poorest road networks that you can ever see. In terms of, there is one that was begun by Uhuru Kenyatta in Bondo. It was to go all the way to the lake, but it is done in sections, one to a certain section, then in Aisha, then wanasonga mele, and then they do another sections like 100 meters, then in Aisha, and contractors wakatoka. And it is even commissioned, ikona those, what do we call them? The concrete, and you go inajengwa ikiandikwa this road was commissioned by so and so on this date. Yeah, so I don't know if the reason for doing part and leaving the rest is kusema iliharibika or something like that. I don't know. But that is just one example of the roads that were done by previous government. But before we blame even the previous government, we also have leaders who have been in office for a number of terms, and they're experts who have been sent to the government. But if they're experts, why so much difference in what they did for their counties and what they have right now? And of course we can say that wakukua kwa serikali, but ODM has always been in government in different handshakes that we've seen in the country. So they have always been in government in one way or another. And it's not good to talk about the late people who have died, but let's just mention that Raila didn't have, this is my opinion, didn't have the interest of the people at heart, because in all this time, being a prime minister, being in government, different handshakes, still there's little to count for when it comes to infrastructure development in the Nyanza region. That is just my opinion. I want to get your opinion on in terms of development in the Nyanza region from you as well. Let's begin with you, Fendo.
Thank you very much. My name is Fendo. Just to introduce myself again. And matters of politics, matters of economics, matters of social gathering is things that people have learned all through from the history and all through. But another important aspect that people need to learn and understand are the constitutional things about this. We need to know which role is allocated to the county governments, CARA, and which role is allocated to the national government. I've seen a lot of ignorance being meted over the weekend from a faction that call themselves, experts, blaming the government, national government, over roads that should be the done by the county governments. So for that road, first of all, we need to understand, is it a thing that need to be done by the county government or not? But even so, while these people are moving on the dusty roads, you find that some of them are paid as much shillings as 4,000 shillings, which shows that these people have exchanged development money that needs to prepare roads to paying goons so that they can get their own political mileages. And this has always been happening about these people, whereby you are given 4,000 shillings, but again you want to get development. There is no way it can be a two-edged sword, whereby you will be given money to vote for somebody and again also get a development as a return value. So what I think here is a wake-up call for us. And besides these poor roads, we saw poor roads and people even killing themselves. Policemen were killed, vehicles were destroyed in a particular region over a certain person. While we've seen this brigade, Linda Mwananchi, has been in Kakamega, nobody was harmed. Everybody went to a rally, even at night, and went back home. This clearly shows that there are some regions which there is dominated by ignorance, voting blindly for people who do not bring development, but for their own personal goals. So I think this is just a wake-up call to us as a nation, as the youth, to see who we are electing in, to get in power and be able to know what the bad aspects and elements of democracy brings and poor leadership. Thank you.
Now, please, Smile, when I come to you, there is the issue of still on matters development in the country. Could this be a problem of exposure? Because they normally say that you can dream as far as you're exposed. If we look at the people on the mountain, their proximity to the city is different from those in the Nyanza region. Getting from here to my home, you'll take you at least 8 hours. At least 8 hours. Going to Muranga will take you 2 hours. So could this be proximity to development? Because I believe those people who live in those areas were just fine. It is you people who are complaining. They were just fine.
No, it is not proximity to development. I'll say this because, you see, for the Mount Kenya region, it has been prioritized since the days of Tom Mboya, since the days of Jaramogi when he was still in power, because it was marked as a high potential area that will bring a lot of farming. And the Mzungu back then, because he had inhibited these areas, and he actually had decided that he's not going back to America, he's not going back to Britain, because the Mzungu knew that for him to thrive, he had to make sure that he controls Mount Kenya. So when the political elites back then came to power in 1963 and 1964, they continued with the whatever Mzungu was, the projects of Mzungu, especially when it came to farming. So it was prioritized by governments, and you've seen that the people from that region have held power for a very long time. That's the reason why the region has actually flourished compared to the other regions. But we came to a point in this country when we said that enough of this old constitution that seemingly preferred that development goes to regions that are full of potential according to their definition. But now when we brought in the 2010 constitution, we expected that when we brought about counties, 47 counties, we expected that this development will go to all those counties. So it saddens me that even beyond 2010, we still have those poor roads. According to my calculations, we are not supposed to have very poor infrastructures in our counties post 2010, because we had known the problem and we are solving it. But the problem of corruption, where money is being allocated in this country, in all those countries, but there's nothing that is seen. There's nothing tangible. When you put a lot of money in a county, maybe through MPs, and this money ends up being eaten, with no infrastructure being accounted for, then we have a problem as a country. Especially when it comes that these members of parliament have no one to be accounted for, because who will account them, who will hold them accountable if these same electorates stay in their home, they camp in the MP's home from dawn to dusk, asking for mfuko ya unga, asking for mafuta, asking for 200 every time. In fact, if you go to these MP's home, you'll find out that every weekend there's a goat eating ceremony. So through this, I won't call them shiny things, through these goodies that these MPs, these governors, and these local politicians are giving to the people, they tend to relax, that they won't ask for good road. They'll only blame the national government. But as he has said, they do not understand which roads belong to who. When we talk about link roads that are, the mandate of the counties through that 30% that I always talk about, that they have to do this infrastructural development, the 30% of their budget has to go to development. Why are these governors not building link roads? They want to see that the national government has put up a very good road for them to do the county link roads. They should do them. Let them put cab roads, even if the national government has not put roads there. So another monster is what we call lobbying. And this is one of those things that happened during President Kenyatta's time. For you to get a good road anywhere in this country, you had first to go and simp to the government back then and ensure that your road has been, the tender for your road has been gazetted for you to get those roads. But that habit continued for a very long time. And for those members of parliament who happened to not be pro-government, they never received any roads. And the Homa Bay governors, Homa Bay counties, Nyanza region counties were among those counties that never received any infrastructural support from the president back then, because they were not supporting him. They were Team Baba. The coast region is among those issues, among the counties that suffered the same issue. And that's the reason why, as I finish up, we are coming on as a coast region saying that we supported someone, and out of the political environment of the day, we could not get this development because we were supporting the wrong person. If this is the politics that for us to get these good roads, we have to support the president, then let it be. Let us get these good roads. Because what do you mean others are benefiting, us we're not benefiting? Because we simply decide to follow a man. You can simply follow another man and get this development. And luckily, the Prime Minister back then, the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, joined the broad-based government. So we expected that these tenders for these roads that are in these areas that were purportedly gazetted as opposition counties will receive these roads. And I'm seeing that around 33 kilometers of roads have been built in Homa Bay, courtesy of the president, and that is good. And I think this is a wake-up call that has also woken up the people of Homa Bay too. They are now pro-government. You saw that they got stadiums, they got good roads because they supported the government. I think that's the secret hack that they are learning. But again, it does not justify that we have to simp to a person for us to get development. This development have to be put in every part of this country.
Now that we are talking about the politics of development, let's get deeper into it. Based on what transpired over the weekend in Homa Bay County, where the Linda Mwananchi Brigade was not so much blocked, but blocked from getting into Homa Bay County, and the violence that was witnessed. 2 people apparently lost their lives. This brings me to a question. Is President William Ruto really, or has ODM really cemented its grip on the Nyanza region? Because if you have cemented your grip on someone, for example, if you're in a relationship and you're secure about your partner, you should not be worried that why are they talking to this other person? If you're secure with yourself and you're secure that this person loves me, we love each other, that should not be the case. I think this is something that is happening with the ODM party. Have they really secured the bag for William Ruto if they have to incite goons to ensure that the opposition or the people who are opposing two-term don't set their foot in Homa Bay County?
I think this is a tough time for the people in the Luo Nyanza. Those are some of the vote-rich areas that will now be lucrative for it. I think most government agencies and opposition will trade their guns to the opposition side, the western region, the Kakamega, and the western and the coast to get it. But all can be a trouble brought about by, Baba was a very big man, and there were a lot of parasites which were hanging on his coat. So when Baba went to be with the Lord, most of these people could not get another host to parasite or to continue parasiting their parasitic behavior from there. And therefore it means that they can do all inhuman things, including killing, murdering, fighting brother to brother to prove allegiance to somebody. Like this, you can find that those people are weak who cannot win an election, and it's always the weak person who comes with the war, and not person who is ready to talk. They want to prove allegiance to William Ruto, and it's just there watching them like a master. Everybody trying to fight to prove the allegiance, that I can be able to bring the votes, I can be able. And these are brother fighting against the brother. These are the people who talk the same language, the same dialect, fighting against each other. But all said and done, I think we have a generation that is fast coming in, that is technologically aware, and what I hope is that these people are able to read and understand the effects of democracy. And as my brother has talked about parliament, has mentioned parliament several times, that the main problem is parliament. And I've taken time to read the book by Muammar Gaddafi called The Green Book about the democracy. And Muammar Gaddafi says that any government that is there is no democracy in the world, which I choose to agree with him. He said that any government in the world that has parliament has already surrendered its power to a person. And a nation of 52 million people cannot surrender all its sovereign power to around 290 people. And that in any democracy it will always be politics of the political parties. Which party are you belonging to? And if he always say that the opposition will always be interested in maligning the government, not working with the government to see that the people benefit. And that's what Raila Amolo Odinga did all through to get him to parliament. That's what Rigathi Gachagua is doing. He's not doing that is now fighting for people to get development, but he's doing that to make DCP a popular party and have enough members of parliament. So this is all about war of political parties. Everybody wants to make their party strong and go and have a bargaining power in the parliament, in the next coming government. So you will find that this is a problem of democracy and cannot be solved through democracy. But what does Muammar Gaddafi say of it being a solution? He says that if nations in Africa or other nations want to solve this problem of lack of development, they should just do away with parliament and people have a direct representation with their personal leaders. Imagine for you to reach out to the president or to receive some bursary or something, you have to go through a broker who is a member of parliament who will enrich himself. If we have to do away with them, and if this money can, because I don't think there is any special thing that these people are doing to us. They are creating laws that are hurting the people, and this is a problem of democracy. It cannot be solved with the democracy. I'm not saying that now we go to the dictatorship, but I'm trying to say that parliament needs to be done away with, because it's the one that has created laws and policies. You look at the finance bill, to be done away with, and let us not have that, because even the Constitution Article 1 allows us to have direct representation of us. Everybody, we are in the technological world, and everybody can air the grievances to what they want it to be done. You've seen a lot of policies, some money going to, even Rigathi Gachagua is out because of some policies he wanted to implement. But this is really a problem with the democracy, and I think it's high time, and as African youth, African children, we need to believe in our brains that we can change even the forms of government, and we not need to rely on foreign powers or rather foreign constitutions to manage our own local problems. Thank you.
All right, that's very brilliant. Please, ma'am.
I think I have to disagree. When it comes to where we want to eradicate the institution of the parliament in this country, because I believe that the people who have been given these roles have failed, but does not mean that the system has failed itself, because we've seen a lot of development that has come with the CDF. Because when you go to these rural areas, they'll tell you that one of the greatest things that I've received is CDF, but they will also agree that the CDF fund is being, used as an institute of corruption. But again, when you talk about young people, they believed in this parliament, that this parliament could say no to that finance bill. They believed in the power of parliament. That's the reason why they were devastated when the parliament failed to, heed to their demands. That's the reason why they went to parliament. They did not go anywhere else, because they believe that these parliamentarians have power, but they have chosen not to exercise them. And that's the reason why we young people are coming up with the agenda and the youth for MCA. Because we believe with the right people in that parliament, we mean that we need young, bright minds that are very much open-minded, that they can abandon their ideologies and follow the popular ideologies of these young people, because we understand that these people, young people, have gone to school and they know what they mean. For us, we are coming up with the Kenya Youth Priority Agenda that will be one of those things that are going to shape this nation. We're talking about young people being MCAs because we have a very huge population block of the young people, yet they're not put in representation in this country. And that's the reason why we are here, to make sure that we put these young people in leadership. You saw during the Kericho governor's impeachment that an MCA could not read a document. He had to stammer all the way around. We are saying, what kind of MCAs are you putting for us? And there's a case study of many counties, especially in the Mount Kenya region, that have young MCAs. And these MCAs have performed exemplary. But when it comes to many other places, you find that the MCAs are very old. They are using this seat as a retirement plan, of which we are saying that MCA seat is not a retirement plan for anyone. So we need very young, vocal leaders in that MCA, because we are calling for, climate action. We are calling for disability inclusion. And we believe that these young people have all it takes to push this agenda in that, county assembly. And that's the reason why I believe in the power of a parliament, that it can shape policies, it can create laws that will be good for this country.
Okay. Now, I would want us to talk more about the same, and also talk about TSC and social media gag splits. But time is really not on our side. I'd love for us to give our final submissions on what we think of the state of the nation. Are we moving on right, or are we heading to the wrong direction? Briefly, in a minute or so.
Thank you. On the state of the nation, I'd like to agree with my brother, and also maybe clarify on what I'm trying to say about parliament. And one of the issues, we must ask ourselves, why is Kenya, Zimbabwe, Uganda, Tanzania third world countries, yet Germany is the first world country, yet Britain is the first world country, and US are the first world countries? You need to ask yourself, how did they become first world countries and other regions are third world countries? And you'll find that part of the issues, like for example in the UK in the year 1688, there was a bloodless coup that they came out and swept all the leaders, all the political leaders, to have a new form of leadership and to be governed the way they wanted, and accountability and everything. We are not saying that our parliament is bad, but the Kenyans have proved time and immemorial, again, over and over again, that they cannot be elected to do something. And we cannot say that the CDF the members of parliament have been able to effective use of CDF, but we have been able to see CDF the way it's done. Most members of parliament go to parliament basically because they want to control and manage CDF. You remove CDF today, a lot of members of parliament who are aspiring to be MPs will not be there. And CDF has now been used to control the votes, whereby say that wewe nilikupatia CDF, utanipatia kura. And this is the public money. And these are some of the problems that we are saying that parliament is causing. You see, money that needs to be going to education sector is given to an individual who controls it, and this is just merely because he's a parliamentarian. If he was not there, and this money could be sent directly to the school, because they don't need his approval and everything. This money can be sent to the universities, can be sent to high schools, and the schools do improve. So you find that this is the problem of parliament, and it is a problem. It's not a problem of Kenya. It's the problem that is emanating from democracy. Those are some of the problems that emanate from democracy, not Kenya as an individual, not Uganda, but a democracy. You cannot trust a person who goes there. Even if they go there, they'll have to bend their rules. Now, on parting shot about the teachers and social media, in the technological events and when technology is taking over, and I like to bring even people in the industrial revolutions, when tractors were coming, those centuries when the world was industrializing, moving to industries, people were trying to fight it and everything. It is high time that the Teacher Service Commission have the youthful there, the youth who understand technology, that doing a TikTok gig doesn't mean that now you are not a teacher. We have some people who are traditional way in thinking, and they want people to behave like, a 70-year-old in this digital era. Wacha walimu wajibambe, they express themselves on TikTok, and also TikTok, and those are digital economies, and we need people to be there who understand the mode wako kubamba wase and vitu kama hizo. And this clearly brings to a point that we need to see that every government institution should have at least 10 Gen Zs and 2 or 5 older members to ensure that these things can be able to be accommodated and not punished.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Just mine in less than a minute, please. We are overlapping.
I will say that no young person in this country should be forced to step down for an older man who wants to run for MCA. I'm calling upon young people to be aggressive in their political ambitions. Let them go for these seats unapologetically. Achana hii maneno ya wazee kutishia vijana kwa MCA ati atulipi tax, hiyo wakaambie watu wengine. But this time round we are here and agenda ni youth for MCA. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so
just to add on it.
We are really overlapping
MCA ni kiti ndogo sana. Youth should go for governorship positions. We need to see ladies going for governor. We need to go where the power really is. Gubernatorial positions. And their governor wachana na kiti MCA.
Tulia.
All right, gentlemen. Please, let's conclude. And this has been the newspaper review, and we are talking about the state of the nation. But if you're interested in sports, if you're someone who has much interest in sports, especially in hockey, you are invited to join us on the 29th of August 2026 from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Baraza Media Lab, Riverside, that is in Lavington, Nairobi, for a discussion that will be bringing together governance, leadership, and welfare specialists to champion self-sport and mental wellness across Kenya hockey. So if you're interested in that discussion, you can join us as a sponsor, you can join us as a member, you can join us to air your views on the same and help us push the discussion on mental health and self-sport further to the Kenyan population, and even as we make hockey an international sport and a more prosperous sport in the country, involving more and more stakeholders in the same. This brings us to the end of Biashara Tuesday on this 18th day of August 2026. Until next time, it's bye from us. My name is Anyango, Sylvia.
We talk about the earth, but how well do we really know it? It's a whole planet. We'll explain it.
It's right to say that a proper environment means even better products.
Absolutely. On Earth Check, we move on various topics that touch on this mother planet.
I really enjoy doing these activities with my peers and my organization.
Beekeeping is not just about the bees, it's about our environment and the future of our lives.
It is an open secret that if you don't take care of the environment, then the environment will take care of you.
Judge of the Environment and Land Court.
Looking on various stories and topical issues that affect us, that affect our dear planet. True care begins with understanding.
Na tumepitisha sheria mpya kupitia ile Environmental Management Act. Sasa kwamba wakati unapewa leseni lazima utoe ile inaitwa bond, environmental bond.
My name is Emmanuel Kutosi, and join me every Wednesday for Earth Check, where I'll be sure to keep you updated.
Ophthalmology is a discipline where we normally take care of people and their eyes. The eye is a window to what's happening in your body. That most patients, or many patients, don't even recognize that they have syphilis until they come to an ophthalmologist. But there are cosmetics which are available in the market which haven't gone through those rigorous processes, and they can cause issues to the eyes. So people have to be very careful with what they put on the eyelashes, what they put inside the eye. It's never too late.
This program is rated GE. Content carried in here is suitable for general family viewing.
Kilimo ni nguzo kubwa kwa ujenzi wa taifa, kwani kilimo ndicho huboresha maisha. Ukitaka kujua haya usipime kipimo, na ukikaa nasi basi utaboresha kilimo.
Asilimia kubwa ya mafanikio katika kilimo cha matunda huanzia kwenye hatua ambayo wakulima wengi hawaitambui. Uzalishaji wa miche unahitaji mkulima kujikimu na maarifa chungu nzima ili kufaulu.
Shabash! Ni Jumamosi nyingine shwari, tunakutana kwenye kipindi cha Boresha Kilimo, kipindi kinachoendelea kukupa maarifa kuhusiana na mbinu mbalimbali za kilimo, haswa ukulima halisi. Na wiki hii kikosi cha Boresha Kilimo kimetua eneo la Kosamaki, kaunti ya Murang'a, ambapo tunaangazia upanzi wa miche kuanzia utunzaji wake hadi masoko yake humu nchini na kimataifa. Mimi ni nahodha wako Akida Kasim, tuandamane hadi tamati.
Katika eneo la Kiambati, kaunti ya Murang'a, tunazungumzia uzalishaji wa miche ya matunda. Hapa tunaeleza kwa kina hatua za upanzi wa miche.
Naam, wanasema siri ya shamba lililo na afya njema huanza hata kabla ya jembe halijagusa udongo. Na kufahamu haya kwa kina zaidi, tunakutana na mkulima anayefahamika Stephen Kariuki katika shamba lake la Organic Farm hapa kaunti ya Murang'a.
Hali ya udongo, mazingira na usimamizi wa kitaaluma huamua kwa kiwango kikubwa kwa mafanikio ya mmea katika maisha yake yote.
Kwa majina naitwa Stephen Kariuki. Mimi ndio manager wa hapa Seed Farm na Farmers Limited. Hapa tuna deal na miti za matunda and tulianza 2010. Tuko na almost all the varieties. Zile tunaanza na kama mangoes, kama citrus or oranges. We have the lemons, we have the avocados. Tukianza kupanda kama ni mbegu mpaka tuende kwa kefis. So wana examine, wana make sure hizo seed tukikuja kupanda ni already certified. Haiwezi disappoint hata kama mimi mwenye mkulima, mimi mwenye nazipanda hizi ni disappoint. Na tuseme tuanzie na kama hizi mango ziko hapa. Tunaanzia na mbegu, inapandwa ikiwa mbegu. Inapandwa mbegu inachukua 1 month ndio ijaminate. Alafu inachukua another 2 months ya kufeed. Alafu sasa unakuja unafanya grafting. Sasa after grafting inatake another 1 month kukua sasa imea matawi. Ndio sasa inakuwa ready to the market. Ndio sasa our customer, our farmers wanaweza kuja wachukue alafu wapande.
Kila mche unahitaji mazingira bora ili kustawi kwa kasi. Matunzo bora ya mmea huiwezesha kuhimili mabadiliko ya anga, hivyo kutilia fora mwanzo wa ukulima wa miche huchangia mavuno ya kutamanika na kufanya mkulima afanikiwe kwa muda mrefu.
Seme kama it's hot, unaweza sema after every 2 days unaota. Kama ni the place, kama kuna ile place kuna baridi sana, unaweza ota once per week ama twice. Grafting inakuja to speed the time of maturity. Ile matunda ina grow haraka. Alafu the fruit inakuwa the best quality. Kama kwa mangoes inachukua spacing ya 8 by 8 meters by 8 meters. Alafu ile shimo yako itakuwa 2 feet by 2 feet, itakuwa square 2 by 2 by 2. So square itakuwa length na width itakuwa 2 by 2 na depth ikuwe 2 feet. So unateka 1 feet unaweka kando hii ya topsoil. Ndio either kama utakuwa na manyua mingi, either uweke 1 bucket or 2 bucket. Sasa ndio utachanganya na ile topsoil. Alafu urarue karatasi yako. Haufai kupanda na karatasi. So utararua hii karatasi yako. Alafu urudishe ile mchanga, alafu place, alafu ufunike.
Ukuaji wa mimea hutegemea uwiano mzuri kati ya maji, hewa na virutubisho. Usimamizi wa mazingira ya mmea katika hatua za mwanzo husaidia kuimarisha mizizi na kufanya iwe na afya ya kuvutia.
After grafting, unaipe 1 month. After 1 month, itakuwa imesprout hivi. Hii sasa inaitwa grafting tip. So inafungwa ikiwa very tight. Sasa vile imefungwa, unafunga hivyo ndio unakaza hiyo hewa isiingie na kusipate maji ingie. Juu ikiingiza maji hapa inaenda kuoza. Sasa ikioza inakuwa waste. So tutatumia this one. Hii tutakata hapa, tutakapa the knot hivyo. Alafu sasa tufungue. So inakuwa hivyo. Unakata V-shape. Inakuwa V-shape. Unakata the rootstock and the zyle.
So lazima ikuwe hiyo V-shape.
Ikuwe V-shape. The zyle. Sasa alafu unakuja sasa unafunga sasa unafunga na hii grafting.
Kadri teknolojia ya kilimo inavyoendelea kubadilika, ndivyo wakulima wanavyopata mbinu mpya za kuongeza ubora wa mazao. Ubunifu katika uzalishaji wa miche umechangia pakubwa kupatikana kwa miti yenye uwezo mkubwa wa kustawi katika maeneo tofauti kote duniani.
Transplanting inakujanga sasa hapa. So after imemaliza hii food iko hapa, before ikauke, so unafaa kuitransplant kwa hii bag kubwa. Ndio ikuwe na nguvu, hiyo kitu inakuwa healthy. So the more na hii tena ikigrow tuna transplant kwa this big bag. Kwa hii bag ndogo haikuangi very well hardened. Hii nayo ifika kwa hii inakuanga hiyo this plant inakuanga iko exposed to the sunlight sana. Alafu inakuwa imeharden. Ndio sasa nikikupea hii germination yake iko higher than this one. Hii inaweza end up to dry.